refreshing goal because he's had such a dramatic season last year with that injury, and to come back and score a goal like that, and to be honest, as the game went on, he started to show signs of being back to his best. You know, Wolves will be so delighted, the supporters and everybody else, that they've got their main man now back and firing.
Yeah, Southampton fans, of course, disappointed, but I think, you know, supporters of every club will acknowledge and will have a little smile today to hear that Raúl Jiménez is the man who has scored the winner for Wolves today. We all followed his story. That fractured skull in the game against Arsenal, how hard he has battled to regain his fitness, the wonderful work from the medical team and others at Wolves who have got him fit again, the special headgear that has had to be created for him to be able to play professional football once more, and for him to come up with the winning goal is a wonderful story. Having lost 4 of their opening 5 Premier League games, it's a very welcome victory for Wolves, but Southampton in trouble. They are yet to win a Premier League game this season. It's finished Southampton 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
Josh, on social media, so pleased for Jimenez after what he has been through, and what an outstanding goal. What those 3 points do. As things stand in the Premier League table, it takes Wolves 3 places up to 13th, while Southampton drop a place down to 16th. Paul's got in touch to say another very long season ahead, I fear. All that effort at Man City now counts for nothing, which I fear, with Ralph saying his time is up. Gosh, that's quite soon. Adam, vintage Southampton get on top in the game, concede for the first goal, and Tom, Southampton are getting relegated. Stupidly didn't replace Danny Ings with a striker proven at this level, and now can't even trouble the opposing keeper. The manager is wasting his time at this club. Tony, they are strong words from the fans. They are not happy with what they are seeing, and it does increase the pressure on Hasenhüttl because they have not got a win yet.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, you lose your top striker, and it showed today. You know, in the final third, you know, they were lost of ideas. They played some good football up to that final third, but the final pass and the decision making in the final third wasn't up to standard for a Premier League side. They worked hard. They give the manager everything they've got, and I hope they stay with him. You know, he deserves. He's done really well here. You mustn't forget he sold his best centre half and his best centre forward this summer. You know, and when that happens, it's difficult. I just hope they stick with him and he starts picking up some results.
But Tony, is then the blame on him for selling them, or is it on the club for not allowing him to replace them?
I think it's a bit of both. I think if you look at it, players, you know, Danny Ings, I think made it pretty clear that, you know, he wanted to move. You know, the players want to move on now. They have a couple of years. If they get the opportunity and the chance to move to what they perceive to be better for themselves, it's very difficult to keep them. And there's not many clubs, excluding Tottenham maybe, who do keep their players when it's like that. But it's you know, it's difficult. I've been here myself. I know what it's like. It's tough at this level. Every game that you play is competitive. And you know, if you haven't got stuff in the final third that's going to change games, then it's going to make it doubly difficult.
Tony Pulis and Conor McNamara, thank you very much. It was an enjoyable listen as Wolves take all 3 points. To the cricket that's taking place over on 5 Live Sports Extra, and at the 5th and final one-day international between England and New Zealand, the Kiwis are chasing a record 348 runs to beat the hosts, and they've just lost their 3rd wicket, so it's now 59 for 3. Into the Scottish Premiership, half-time goalless in the matches between Hibs and St Johnstone and Celtic and Dundee United. Now, earlier today, Chelsea thrashed Manchester United in the Women's Super League 6-1. 5 different scorers on the score sheet for the defending champions, taking Chelsea to 3rd in the table. A couple of matches just finished. Aston Villa's 1-0 win away to Brighton takes Villa 2nd in the table. Brighton had started the day top. They are now down to 4th, while Spurs' 1-0 win at home to Reading, that takes them up the table. And at half-time, West Ham 3-0 against Leicester. Formula One, and Lewis Hamilton has become the first F1 driver to claim 100 race wins after victory at the Russian Grand Prix. Now, a late downpour changed the course of the race. McLaren's Lando Norris had been leading with 5 laps to go, having got his maiden pole at the Russian Grand Prix. But his decision not to change his tyres from slicks to wets cost him dearly, and he eventually finished 7th. Red Bull's Max Verstappen swapped his tyres early enough to benefit as he moved up to 2nd, having started at the back of the grid in the final few laps. Hamilton now enjoys a 2-point championship lead over Verstappen, and he gave this reaction afterwards.
I always want to start with saying a big thank you to all these fans. We've got such a great crowd here. I know it's not been the best of weather, but what a race it provided. So a big thank you to everyone in Russia for having us. It's taken a long time to get to 100, and I wasn't even sure whether or not it would come. Lando did such an amazing job. He had incredible pace. He's doing such a great job for McLaren, and it was very bittersweet, obviously, to see my old team ahead, them doing so well. Obviously, they won the last race, so it's you know, they're doing fantastic, obviously powered by Mercedes. So it's good to see them united again, and obviously the team made a great call right at the end. I didn't want to let Lando go, and of course I didn't know what the weather was doing, but I'm incredibly grateful to all these men and women that are here and back at the factory, because wow, 100.
Lewis Hamilton with 100 F1 wins. Now, for you Celtic and Dundee fans that believed you were celebrating goals, and I told you there weren't any goals, half-time it is 1-1 between Celtic and Dundee United. So plenty to come as we build up to the North London derby. Arsenal against Spurs from the Emirates. Will have commentary from 4:30 at the conclusion of that match. The Ryder Cup team take over, but they will start on Sports Extra from 4:30. But with the time now 2 minutes past 4, let's get the news on 5 Live with Joe Critcher.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The Petrol Retailers Association says many of its members are reporting shortages or have run out completely. The Transport Secretary, Grant Shapps, says there is enough fuel in the UK and is urging people to be sensible and to only fill up when you need to. The association's chair is Brian Maddison.
I've talked to a lot of our members this morning. They serve the main roads, the rural areas, the urban roads, and anywhere between 50% and 90% of their forecourts are currently dry, and those that aren't dry are partly dry and running out soon.
The government is offering temporary visas to 5,000 foreign HGV drivers to help with the supply problems, but the British Chambers of Commerce says that's only a drop in the ocean. Detectives investigating the murder of the primary school teacher Sabina Nessa in South East London are questioning a man. The 36-year-old was detained in East Sussex in the early hours of this morning. The police are describing his arrest as a significant development. A row's broken out after Labour's deputy leader Angela Rayner called senior Conservatives scum. In a speech to a reception at the party conference in Brighton, she also reportedly said they were racist, vile and homophobic. Tories have accused her of dragging politics into the gutter. The party leader, Sir Keir Starmer, has been asked to intervene. Here's our political correspondent, Helen Catt.
Sir Keir has distanced himself from his deputy leader's words, saying it was not language which he would have used, but he stopped short of saying she should apologise. Ms Rayner is standing by her comments, saying she'll say sorry when Boris Johnson apologises for the controversial things he said in the past. Elsewhere, Sir Keir Starmer has told the BBC he would not nationalise the big 6 energy companies, instead taking a pragmatic approach.
And Status Quo's founding member and bassist Alan Lancaster has died aged 72. He had multiple sclerosis. He was part of the group during the 60s and 70s when they had hits including Rockin' All Over the World and Whatever You Want.
Europe's elite club competition.
The Champions League on 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra. On Tuesday night, we'll have live, subscription-free commentary of PSG versus Manchester City. Kickoffs at 8 p.m. Plus, updates from FC Porto v Liverpool. And on Wednesday, the focus will be on Old Trafford.
Plays it right across, Ronaldo is there! And Ronaldo scores!
For Manchester United against Villarreal. And we'll have Juventus v Chelsea updates. The Champions League.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
5 Live's Premier League Sunday with Gigi Salmon.
Already Already today, 301 days after suffering a career-threatening injury, Raul Jimenez scored the winning goal in Wolves' 1-0 win away at Southampton. But next up, it is the North London derby, and both managers know how much it means to the supporters.
Well, it's the most special
Digital marketers around the world help businesses thrive. Every click and every online purchase create happy customers and proud business owners. SEMrush is
going to be a tough match.
It's Arsenal against Spurs up next on Premier League Sunday.
Oh, that's a super free kick. Brilliant free kick from Ødegaard. Struck it left-footed, and Arsenal lead by a 0-0.
Son raises his arm, now swings in a good-looking ball, dangerous all the way in. Son Heung-min in with the opening goal for Spurs.
Breaks to Saka, room to shoot, goalkeeper saves, but he spilt it, and Arsenal are in front.
Son goes for goal, he's found a corner, and scored to give Tottenham the lead.
Oh my word.
What a mistake that is from Jorginho. Well recovered by Arrizabalaga, still the danger remains, and Arsenal have scored.
Wonderful ball, Harry Kane, shooting chance, he's taken it, of course he has. Harry Kane, 2 goals in quick time.
23 minutes away from kickoff in the North London derby, Arsenal against Spurs. And in case you missed it when we brought you the team news, the team news flash during the Southampton Wolves match, let's start with that. So, Ian Dennis, how do they line up at the Emirates this afternoon?
Yes, it's worth reminding. I'll give you the full team news. Xhaka is back after suspension. Of course, whilst he was suspended, he had picked up COVID on international duty as well. But he returns for Arsenal in their only change from the side that beat Burnley for Pepe. So they line up with Ramsdale in goal, Tomiyasu, Gabriel, White and Tierney the defence. Xhaka and Partey then will sit in the midfield with Smith Rowe, Ødegaard and Saka behind Aubameyang. As for Tottenham Hotspur, they make 3 changes from the side that lost to Chelsea. Sanchez, Tanganga and Lucas coming in for Romero, Emerson and Lo Celso. So Hugo Lloris, the captain, will be in goal. A back 4 of Tanganga, Sanchez, Dyer and Reguilon. A midfield of Højbjerg, Dele Alli and Ndombele. And a front 3 of Lucas Moura, Son and Harry Kane, who will be looking to end this Premier League goal drought.
Now, Ian, alongside you is Matt Upson. Good afternoon, Matt. Now, I was having a chat with Ian a little bit earlier about this fixture, whether you support these teams or not, and people are drawn to it. It's only the 6th game of the league season, but it's just the importance of it following the starts that both of the sides had. It just feels a little bit greater than normal.
Yeah, good afternoon, Gigi. It certainly does. I mean, both teams with really extreme form this season. I mean, in opposite ways as well. When you look at Tottenham's start, clean sheets, scoring a goal, very almost like Arsenal of old style, and then you compare it to Arsenal's start, which I think was conceding like 9 goals in the first 3 games or so, not scoring, and then Arsenal have gone on a little bit of run, and Tottenham have dripped right off, conceding 2 lots of 3-0 defeats. So I think going into this game, it's actually really important that the players look at it as just this one-off match. It's a derby. It's huge. You know, we've been in a place where the crowd haven't been able to support football for a year or so, and this is a great opportunity for both sets of players to enjoy this atmosphere. I mean, the atmosphere is going to be great here at the Emirates, and I think it's just one of those games that you put that form to one side. It's a difficult game to call in terms of who's in the best position, but it's all about who produces on the day.
Now, something, Matt, that the Arsenal fans can't put to one side is the inclusion of Granit Xhaka. Social media was suddenly alive with. We've just seen him doing his pre-match media. He's starting. Why is he starting? It's ridiculous. We don't need him. He is such a divisive figure among Arsenal fans.
Yeah, I mean, Mikel Arteta just can't seem to move forwards without him. Why that is, it'd be interesting to know. I mean, I'm not advocating that he's shouldn't be in the team. I just think it's interesting that Arteta will always go back to him. The one thing that I find interesting, and it's not about whether I think Xhaka should be in the team or not, it's more to do with what role I think Thomas Partey is best in, because I think he's the future. He's the player that Arsenal need to get something from. They invested heavily in him last season. He hasn't hit any real run of form for the club. He's been injured as well. And I just saw him play that individual sole holding midfielder in front of the back 4 at Burnley. And I just thought, this is his role. This is where he needs to be. He doesn't need to think of anything else. He can get a good relationship with the 2 centre-backs. This is your job. You don't go out of the area. When he plays in a 2 with Xhaka, it's different. And I just don't see him really identifying what his role is as well as when he plays by himself. So it's more about that for me as to whether or not Xhaka should start. Is how do you get the best out of Thomas Partey? And I'm not sure if it's playing him with Xhaka.
Ian, it's interesting that earlier in the week William Gallas came out and said that Mikel Arteta, he doesn't have the experience to manage a club like Arsenal. He should actually go now because he's not going to improve them. But a little bit earlier on Premier League Sunday, Gail Clichy was with us. He believes, and he worked with Arteta at Man City when he was assistant manager, he believes that Mikel Arteta is doing the right things and could be the next Arsene Wenger. But this is the big thing with managers, he needs to be given time.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure that we'll ever see another Arsene Wenger, and I'm not too sure that in this current climate in football that managers will ever get the time that Arsene Wenger was to be afforded. I mean, Arteta is somebody, obviously, who won the FA Cup in his first season. He's got a deal until 2023, but already he's faced a lot of pressure and a lot of scrutiny, and indeed he's faced that already this season, had it not been for those wins against Norwich and Burnley. And as I said to you earlier, I think whoever loses this game, I think both clubs then will face questions about the direction that they're in, because in the build-up to this North London derby, and it applies to both Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur, the fear from their supporters is that they could be a club in decline. I mean, even Jamie Carragher yesterday in his column in the Daily Telegraph was talking about it's no longer a top four or a big four, sorry, a big four, the top six or the big six. It's now the top four, and Arsenal and Spurs have drifted away from those at the top, and that is, I think that's the fear. But that now is what Arteta and those who hired him have got to stick to their principles and why they employed him in the first place. And if they are to take a little bit of short-term pain, if they believe that long-term he is their man, then they've got to continue to back him, because in any club, when you chop and change your manager, maybe Chelsea are the exception, but by and large you tend to suffer the consequences.
And Matt, facing some pressure and scrutiny of his own is Harry Kane. Just last week we had fans say, well, maybe they should have sold him. His mind's not there. He's not right. He's looking to end this Premier League goal drought. So pressure on him. And also, how important is it that Son and Kane start to click into gear for Spurs?
I think the latter that you mentioned there, Gigi, is most important, is that partnership. You know, it is that is what Tottenham's strength is at the moment. We saw it last season. I mean, the start that those two had for Spurs last season, it's the best, most potent partnership in Europe. I mean, you look at assists and goals combined between Son and Kane, it was phenomenal. And they haven't hit that this season. Now Harry Kane, you know, all things aside, forget the transfer speculation, has had a massive summer with England. He was back a little bit later from training. If he wasn't getting into goal-scoring situations, I'd be far more concerned. But I think he is getting into certain ones, certainly with England in the performances he's had and when he's been on the pitch. Has he finished them enough? No, probably not. A little bit rusty, not like him, not to be more ruthless in front of goal. But I think he's getting some opportunities. It's whether or not he can for Spurs. And I think that link up with Son, playing him in the right position as well. You know, I know he's drifted out to the left once, which was a bit, you know, questionable, it has to be said, given the partnership there. But I think it's crucial that the pair of them start to fire together.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be back with Matt and Ian very shortly, but we're just an hour away for the final day of action at the Ryder Cup. Team Europe trail Team USA 11 points to 5. The question is, will we be seeing another miracle before our eyes? Well, to talk us through it a little bit later, we two members of the Five Live commentary team and European Tour golfer Paul Waring and Kat Downs. And Kat, we have had some thrilling Ryder Cup finishes over the year, but you just feel this one might just be a stretch too far.
It looks like it might be, Gigi, you're right. But Podrick Harrington, the European captain, is drawing on those memories of Medina back in 2012 when the European side came from 10-6 down to win. The miracle in Medina, it's known. That was a 4-point deficit. This, though, is a bit more than that, isn't it, Paul?
It is. Also, looking through this American side, you know, within this team, there's 8 out of the world's top 10. So it is a mountain to climb for the Europeans. You look at what Padraig has put out, so Padraig Harrington, the European captain, as an order, and it's almost impossible for him to front load this team in that regard. I've seen a few things on social media and also in the golfing media this morning on a bit of criticism for him there. But when you look at this strength, so like I've just said, 8 out of the world's top 10. Harris English then is number 11, and Jordan Spieth is number 13, and Berger is 16. So it doesn't matter who you're up against for the Europeans. It's more than likely, unless you're John Rahm, obviously, that the person you're playing against is going to be higher ranked in the world than you. So it just shows the mountain this European team has got to climb.
And just to lay it out, Gigi, in stark figures, 9 points needed from a possible 12 for Europe, but the USA need just 3.5 to take back the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, they're quite stark, those figures, aren't they? Paul, were you surprised to see Rory McIlroy heading things off? A lot of discussion. Andrew McGee earlier said it's like he's a sacrificial lamb, or do you see it as just a brainwave by Padraig Harrington saying, I've got faith in you, go out and do what we know you can do?
I think there is that faith in Rory McIlroy. He is he is a leader. Also, I think in a team room, I think someone like Rory would be standing there and saying, put me out number one. I've got a point to prove. The media are on my back a little bit. I know I'm not playing great, but this could be, a bit of a spark for him. It could be a bit of a turning point for him. Yes, he has struggled this year, but we say he's struggled. He's still gone and won on the PGA Tour. It's not like that he's been completely in the doldrums all year. There is still that Rory McIlroy magic in there. I'd like to see, personally, and this is my personal view, I'd like to see a little bit more fire out of Rory this afternoon. He's talked about a bit more of a stoic nature, but I feel like the passion he showed in Hazeltine, I feel like we need that emotion to come out of Rory to try and get the best out of him, especially in front of this American crowd.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Kat. Added to the points deficit, you've got 30,000 fans largely going forwards to Team USA because of restrictions at the time of the competition.
Exactly, and it's been a real spoke in the wheel, really, for Europe, not having that partisan, entirely partisan, but not having their fans making up part of that partisan crowd. That's what embodies the spirit and the atmosphere of the Ryder Cup, these two packs of baying fans, and it's all normally in very good spirits. I think because it has been so one-sided, there have been moments when it's felt very hostile for the Europeans out there. It's a very lonely place to be anyway, out on a golf course playing in match play golf. They've played the team part of the competition now. The foursomes, the four balls are out of the way. This is now the singles. They're just out there 1-on-1. But for the Europeans, it's 1 plus 30,000 against 1. It is very, very difficult environment for them out there, and very hostile.
Yeah, absolutely. Kat and Paul, thank you very much. We're looking forward to listening a little bit later. The coverage will be here on 5 Live at the conclusion of the North London Derby, with Team Europe needing a miracle. Right, there's action taking place all over the place today. Such a busy day of sport. So let's head into the Scottish Premiership. Celtic against Dundee United being watched by Roddy Forsyth.
Yes, they're one each. Those goals being scored in the space of 2 minutes fairly early in the first half. Leila Bada with a fine header for Celtic, putting them ahead, but then their customary defensive weakness at the heart of the back four in evidence again when Ian Harkis was allowed a header at the other end. As I mentioned earlier, he almost had to bend over backwards to get it, but he still had enough force to put it into the net. So it's one each here. Incidentally, Hibs have gone one up against St Johnstone at Easter Road with a Martin Boyle penalty kick.
Thank you very much for that, Roddy. Right to the rugby. Let's get the latest London Irish against Sale at the Medeski for us, Sarah Orchard.
Thanks, Gigi. It's London Irish 19, Sale 31. 50 minutes on the clock, and Irish got the first score of the second half as fullback Tom Parton dotted down for their third. Plenty of hands on the ball before it was actually scored. So the half-time talk has worked. It looks like they're heading for a fourth. Not over the line yet. It's London Irish 19, Sale 31.
Sarah, thank you very much. We're going to keep you across absolutely everything, but our base from now until the end of the match is going to be the Emirates. It is North London Derby. It's Arsenal against Spurs. Our team in position are Ian Dennis and Matt Upson. And Matt, is this Arsenal's best chance yet to get the 3 points against this out-of-form opposition? Because people have been talking about, the 2 wins they've got so far this season, well, it was against Burnley and Norwich. They're bottom of the table.
Yep.
Do you think, with everything that's going on, not going on, or coming together at Spurs, this is a very good opportunity for Arsenal?
I think it's a derby game, and I think we can look at form, you can look at opportunities. A Tottenham in form, no, they've lost the last 2-3-0, but it's a North London derby, and I'm such one of these people that at times that form just goes out the window, and I think the supporters back here in the stadium, London derby, makes such a difference. So we can talk about how well the team's playing. I don't think either team is really functioning yet. I don't think either team is hitting the heights in terms of what they're capable of, or even in what direction they're going. I still think there's a lot of work to do for both managers. Nuno especially, he's only been at the club, a handful of games. So from that perspective, I think both teams have a great opportunity, equal opportunity almost, and both teams are equally capable of losing this game. So it just makes for a really interesting fixture.
Yeah, you're right. When it comes to derbies, especially this one, we can talk stats till we're blue in the face, but it tends to go out of the window. Yeah. Ian, something Mikel Arteta, he talks quite a lot about is having specialist players, and this might be why they need to give him time, because it takes time to get specialist players, one for every position. It feels in Aaron Ramsdale, he might have that player in that position. He's settled in so well since that move from Sheffield United, because one thing he has done is made wholesale changes at the back.
Yeah, he has. I mean, Ramsdale's done well. He's kept 3 clean sheets in his 3 games. I actually think, I saw them last week at Burnley, Gigi, and I thought that Ramsdale did well. I thought that Gabriel looked very, very solid at the heart of their defence, and Ødegaard started to take control in the midfield. And when you look at this Arsenal side, the one thing I think they've lacked of late is leaders. Where is that leadership going to come from? Who's the player who's going to galvanise the team? Now, whether it's that leadership qualities that Arteta, because he clearly does trust Xhaka, and that's one of the reasons with his experience why he's brought him back into the side. But I thought that Ødegaard last week, Gabriel and Ramsdale were 3 positive performances from individuals that Arteta can look to build on.
I certainly think, Deno, that the goalkeeping position certainly has that feel about it. I think statistically between Leno and Ramsdale, there's not a lot between them. And I think that is all about who's the character, who's the voice, who's going to be big, who's going to stand up in the back there, control the box and give information to the back 4. And I think Ramsdale just gets the nod on that one.
Seen Thierry Henry in the crowd. We're talking about leaders. They had a wealth of them during his time at Arsenal. But you feel it doesn't really come down to age, does it? Because you can say, well, I don't know, Ødegaard can't be a leader. He's 22, he's too inexperienced. It doesn't just come down to age. But with Granit Xhaka, as much as the Arsenal fans will start throwing things at the radio, he can and he does control the tempo of that side, and he does bring the experience that they are lacking at times, Matt.
Yeah, I think he brings experience, but also, Xhaka's been prone to making rash decisions. We've seen it recently, making a rash tackle, getting sent off. So, his history at this club is blighted with those type of incidents, which is what I think the supporters look at and go, well, can you trust him? Can you trust him in high-pressure situations when your back's against the wall to make the right choice, to keep his cool? Sometimes he can, but you've also seen occasions where he can't. And if this game goes in the wrong direction for Arsenal, it starts to get a bit heated on the pitch, I think he comes under pressure a little bit, and how he reacts isn't always the right way for a player of his experience and stature.
Yeah, then you stick him in a North London derby. Ian, when it comes to Spurs, something that stood out is the lack of creativity, and they haven't been any creativity they've not turning it into goals. They've had the second fewest shots, I think it's 46, and created the joint fewest number of big chances. And some people are saying it's the way that Nuno, having come from Wolves, is setting up a fairly defensive Spurs-looking side.
Yeah, which I think is dangerous territory, because when you're the Tottenham Hotspur manager, the supporters expect you to play in a certain way. For instance, Jose Mourinho, eventually the way that he manages, that pragmatic way, the supporters won't tolerate that. And obviously at the start of the season they've done well. They've grinded out the 3 victories as Hugo Lloris leads out Tottenham, as I'm sure you can gather, with the boos to greet them out onto the pitch here in the sunshine in North London. But they are in transition, and it might take him time to get across his message to the players, as Aubameyang, to the cheers, leads out Arsenal, and the atmosphere is building very, very well. But I do think that for both Arsenal and Tottenham, it's a huge fixture because the 3 points, momentum for Arsenal will give them that, continue that upward trajectory. But for Spurs, well, in fact, an Arsenal win by at least a 2-goal margin would actually put them above Tottenham. And when you think that Spurs were top at the start, well, after 3 games, Arsenal were bottom. It's the roles have been reversed when it comes to form.
Really looking forward to this one. So it's over to your commentary team at the Emirates of Matt Upson and Ian Dennis.
Well, the atmosphere is so good, thank you, Gigi, that at times we were struggling to hear the questions from the studio for what is the first time that Mikel Arteta actually has managed in a North London derby with fans here at home. And I noticed in the match programme that Takehiro Tomiyasu was saying that he'd never heard a sound like it when he made his debut against Norwich. Well, I think he's about to experience a completely new atmosphere altogether here with this North London derby in the sunshine as the two teams break away. Arsenal in their red and white shirts and white shorts away to our left, and Tottenham Hotspur in their white shirts and navy shorts. And I'll run through the two teams in case you've missed it. Ramsdale in goal, back four for Arsenal: Tomiyasu, Gabriel, White and Tierney, Xhaka and Partey, Ødegaard, Smith-Rowe, Saka and Aubameyang. And then for Tottenham, Lloris is in goal, a back four of Tanganga, Sanchez, Dyer, Reguilon, Ali, Højbjerg and Ndombele, Son, Kane and Lucas Moura. And Harry Kane, Matt, yet to score in the Premier League this season. However, when it comes to North London derbies, he is the leading goal scorer, 11 goals in 15 encounters. It's in the script, isn't it, for him to break his drought here today?
I mean, yes. Yes, you know, it's one of those things. He loves scoring against Arsenal. He hasn't scored this season. You know, it's just set then, isn't it? It's poised perfectly for him to stamp his mark on this Premier League season in this fixture, which we know he loves to do.
Well, before kick-off, there will be a minute's applause in memory of Jimmy Greaves as the Tottenham players walk forward. Now, obviously, when these two sides met in pre-season, the Tottenham fans gave Saka a really, really warm ovation in that game, which was a nice gesture. We hope here that football supporters can unite once again in memory of Jimmy Greaves, because allegiances apart, if you love your football, you would love Jimmy Greaves. Part of England's World Cup success, of course, in 1966. England's greatest ever goal scorer and a wonderful TV personality to boot. The Emirates applauds in unison. That was a wonderful ovation for Jimmy Greaves. He was the scourge of Arsenal on many occasions. Bob Wilson used to describe him as a nightmare. But on today of all days, allegiances are put to one side, and that was touching, Matt. Extremely touching, and I listened to Bob Wilson talking about Jimmy Greaves and the way he used to kind of smile at him when he ran past him once he'd scored, and great memories and great stories. We're about to get underway. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live as the players take the knee. And we're ready now for a North London derby that might not be relevant to the top four. But don't tell anybody here that it doesn't matter. Not known a derby yet that's irrelevant. Where for the supporters, your stomach churns. And certainly for this 190th North London derby, It matters a great deal for these two clubs, separated by, 3.5 miles from stadium to stadium. And on 5 Live's Premier League Sunday, a reminder that when the golf does start in a short while, uninterrupted golf coverage from 4:30 will be till 6:30 on 5 Live Sports Extra. I think they're due off just after 5 o'clock, aren't they? The opening match in the singles. So Tottenham Hotspur in their white shirts and navy shorts, playing from right to left. Arsenal in their red and white tops, as Dyer and Sanchez, and then Ødegaard puts pressure on Dyer, but he hits it long. Headed away by Tomiyasu, the Japanese international. Saka in field, Dele Alli to Ndombele over the halfway line, and then Tomiyasu to Ødegaard. Højbjerg puts him under pressure and wins the ball. Referee Craig Pawson, so nothing wrong with that. Son on the overlap, sliding in. Very good challenge by Ben White. And that's the type of challenge that can set the tone as we welcome listeners to the BBC World Service, who here at the Emirates in North London for this North London derby. So wherever you are in the world, good afternoon to you. It's 0-0. We've only been playing for about 2 minutes. And Arsenal with Tierney on that far side, as I say, from left to right, passing the ball back to Gabriel. So that, as I would imagine, as a former defender, that sliding challenge from White, you want to get one of those ones in early doors, don't you?
You're up on your feet and your heart pumping and you're absolutely buzzing off tackling like that, to be honest. It was a brilliant tackle from Ben White, anticipated it so well, went to ground, but it was so controlled and measured the way he did it, took the ball off Son, up on his feet, and away you go. We've had 2 or 3 really good tackles already. And Saka is, as we discussed before, Deno, Saka is playing on the right, coming inside onto his left foot, with Smith Rowe drifting onto the left-hand side, coming inside onto his right foot.
That's Matt Upson, the former England international, who's with us here on the BBC. Tierney won't get the better of Tanganga, but he will get a throw for Arsenal. And Tierney going all the way back to Gabriel. Back it goes then to Tierney on that far side, the left. Dele Alli going with him. And then Smith Rowe strokes it to Gabriel, just over the halfway line, left of the centre circle. Back with White. The Arsenal fans up and out of their seats, creating a wonderful noise. Sellout, 60,000 here at the Emirates. 3,000 travelling fans from Tottenham and that far corner, as that was a ball played into Xhaka that he just had to stretch for a fraction from Gabriel, and back to Ramsdale, and then Ramsdale hits the ball right the way down the middle of the pitch and all the way through to his opposite number, Hugo Lloris, all in yellow.
Yeah, they've got to be careful. Arsenal playing at the back. We've seen how effective Spurs can be in the first half against Chelsea, how good that press is. It really is full on. Ali goes all the way and Ndombele backs it up, and Son and Kane, such intelligent pressers, out of possession, really do put the defence under pressure. Your passing has to be spot on. And as you mentioned, that ball from, I think it was Tierney, just rolled it into Xhaka, was a little bit loose. It's a dangerous pass in the early stages of this game.
Reguilon winning a foul for Tottenham Hotspur. With Wolves' goal at Southampton. Southampton 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1 in our first commentary on 5 Live Premier League Sunday. It means that only Arsenal and Norwich, with 2 apiece, have scored fewer goals than Tottenham Hotspur so far in the early stages of this season. So Sanchez coming under pressure and barged over behind for a goal kick. So goals for both these North London sides have been in short supply, a little bit like fuel at the moment.
You haven't been queuing up at a petrol station, Deno, have you?
To be honest with you, where I am at the minute, we didn't have a problem.
No, I've driven past a few and seen the queues and just thought, oh, I'll leave it. But no, you're absolutely right. It has been pretty dry on the goal front, as I've just seen Aubameyang press the ball of Sanchez. We're just talking about Tottenham's press. Arsenal doing it themselves as well, with Aubameyang really leading the line and putting Sanchez under a lot of pressure.
I don't think we'll be running on empty today when it comes to noise and drama, and hopefully not goals. The last goalless draw actually at Arsenal between these two was November 1998. So there has been enough history to suggest that we will have a goal or two in this game to enjoy, from a neutral's point of view, that is. Headed on by Dele Alli. Son for Tottenham. into the near the penalty area, still managed to get the shot away, but he was off balance, left-footed, and in the end it was a good foot and a half wide of the left-hand post that Ramsdale, all in green, is about to take the goal kick.
He was offside as well, I think, Deno. Son
late flag.
Yeah, Son had just gone offside. Dele Alli tried to flick the ball on, but he ran offside very, very early. He was a couple of yards offside. Such is the nature of a delayed flag.
Ramsdale then will just play it short to Ben White, and he's just at walking pace now. He doesn't really go too far with it, passes the ball out towards Gabriel. There was a tendency last week at Burnley to play out from the back. They were almost unstuck a couple of occasions, but they managed to succeed this one. And Smith Rowe out to Tierney. Aubameyang hits it first time. Lloris makes the save, and now the flag's up on this near side. I'll tell you what, they went very quickly from back to front there.
Well, that was everything that you want to see from good passing play at the back. What I liked about it, it wasn't, too intricate. It was a really good ball, lovely ball from Ben White. Turned quickly into Smith Rowe, out to Tierney, who's so advanced on that left-hand side. He just puts it in first time for Aubameyang into the near post. The strike went. I think Lloris had it covered all the way, but such a swift move from Arsenal.
Well, Harry Kane might well be the leading goal scorer when it comes to North London derbies, but you look at the career of Aubameyang, 7 goals and 11 appearances against Tottenham, not just with Arsenal. That includes his time with Borussia Dortmund, but it wouldn't have counted anyway. Still 0-0, 5 Live and the World Service. Tomiyasu inside to Partey, now to Ødegaard. Couple of players over on the left-hand side. Smith Rowe's one of them, Tierney's the other. It's Tierney's cross over the head of Saka, right-hand side of the penalty area. Tomiyasu delivers the ball. Reguilon clears it for Tottenham Hotspur. And Ndombele challenging Saka. Arsenal win the ball back. Ødegaard back towards Saka. Very much on the front foot, Arsenal. Tomiyasu can't thread it back through to the England international. And Reguilon clears and out of play for a throw. 7.5 minutes played.
Yeah, I know this should be a given, Deno, really, but Arsenal do massively look up for this game. I'm looking at Aubameyang, who's been questionable at times over the past year or so. His body language, the energy he's putting into this game, he's been aggressive with his decision-making, and so are all the Arsenal players at the moment.
Well, it's the first time that Arteta has managed a North London derby here with supporters. He was asked about that in his press conference, and he said he would be making the players more than aware of what this game means, but I'm sure they would know anyway. You would like to think so, at least. 8 minutes played.
Well, they've started like they've been informed, haven't they? They've started really well, Arsenal, has to be said.
Dyer steps out of defence, wins the ball. Harry Kane gets away from White. White, though, was snapping at his heels, and in fact there was a foul spotted by Craig Pawson. Let's get an update from Celtic Dundee United. Roddy Forsyth.
Yes, Celtic still being held to a draw by Dundee United. They took the lead through Abada and were pulled back by a Harkis header. Since then they've enjoyed most of the possession, but the crowd are getting agitated because we're in the last 10 minutes and the possibility is becoming a probability that Celtic could lose points here. Still 1 each.
Yeah, they were 7 behind at the start of play, weren't they, to Rangers, who beat bottom of the table Dundee yesterday. 0-0 here. Earlier, Southampton 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. What a moment that must have been for Raul Jimenez, his first goal in 336 days after that fractured skull, and Southampton are still awaiting their first win of the season. So an excellent result for Nuno Espirito's former side on the south coast. Under clear blue skies here in North London, it's 0-0 and we're in the 10th minute of this contest, and Spurs have got a throw that Højbjerg is going to take, and it goes all the way back to Eric Dyer. I noticed that Nuno Espirito Santo standing up on the corner of that very expansive technical area down below. The ball is hit long by Sanchez. Gabriel towering header away. Xhaka back to Gabriel, and then Gabriel to Ramsdale inside his 6-yard area, passes it out to the right back Tomiyasu, forward on this near side for Saka. Reguilon quite high up, right behind him, inside to Ødegaard, crosses the ball towards Tierney. Arsenal certainly aren't fazed by playing the ball out from the back. Here is Partey collecting the ball short from Gabriel, now to Xhaka. started the game well, Matt Upson.
There's a couple of times, or probably 3 times now, Arsenal comfortably passed the ball under real pressure as well. So your passing has to be spot on. Not only is the accuracy good, they really are firing it into each other, trusting each other's touch, which is so important. Tomiyasu, they're really firing it into Xhaka. Good first touch, then into Odegaard. Really nice play from Arsenal, controlling the ball in possession at the moment.
Gabriel, Tierney once again will venture forward. Back inside to Partey on the halfway line, left of the centre circle, and then crosses the ball onto the chest of Odegaard on this near side. Forward then to Xhaka. Odegaard had made the run inside. Saka under pressure from Højbjerg. Tomiyasu, Gabriel. Arsenal back inside their own half now. White's forward ball headed away by Dyer, controlled by Højbjerg, and then the left back Reguilon will hit it up towards Harry Kane, but White beats him in the air. Arsenal at the minute are the sharper of the two sides. Here is Odegaard running forward. Aubameyang ahead of him. Finds Saka, right corner of the penalty area. Saka plays it back. Smith Rowe arriving, and Smith Rowe gives Arsenal the lead. Well played by Arsenal. The Arsenal fans celebrate inside the Emirates, and inside the 12th minute, Emil Smith Rowe with his first league goal of the season gives the Gunners the advantage 1-0.
And that is totally, fully deserved for Arsenal after the start they've had. It's been an excellent start. They're first to the ball, quicker into the tackle. Anticipation has been absolutely spot on, and this is where this goal comes from. It turns over in the middle of the pitch. It comes wide to Saka for Odegaard. He's 1v1 with the Reguilon, gets it onto his right foot, and it's a really good cross. And there's Emil Smith Rowe. I mean, he picks up such an intelligent position in the box. The step over from Saka onto his right foot, he just passes it just between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box, and there's Smith Rowe arriving. No Tottenham player in sight, they're all a little bit static, and he just glances it, the ball, with his right foot into the bottom corner. Lloris, absolutely no chance. A really well-deserved goal for a fabulous start from Arsenal.
From an observer's point of view, they deserve it because of the way that they've started the game, very much on the front foot.
It's been an outstanding start, a better start than I think anyone could have imagined. The supporters, the noise you can hear. I think everyone's a little bit surprised of how well they've started, and Spurs look like they just can't get to grips. The midfield three is working brilliantly. Odegaard getting on the ball, Xhaka as well. Partey's just sat a little bit deeper, but they're just really on top of Spurs in that area of the pitch.
So Arsenal are ahead through Smith Rowe. An electric atmosphere inside the Emirates on BBC Radio 5 Live. And Tierney on the left-hand side. His cross is deep and it drifts. Not out of play. Saka back towards Tomiyasu. Arsenal wanting more. Odegaard, cries of shoot. Out then towards Xhaka. Tierney on that far side. And then the ball played back. 1-0 to the Arsenal is the chant inside the Emirates from 63,000 delirious Arsenal supporters. We'll get an update from the Rugby Union. London Irish Sale, Sarah Orchard.
London Irish 24, Sale 31. We've got a game going on here now. The Exiles back within 7. They've scored 4 tries as Tom Parton is now crossed for a brace, while Sale have their captain John O'Ross in the bin. It's Sale 31, London Irish 24.
14 minutes played. Arsenal are ahead through that Smith Rowe goal. He scored against Wimbledon in the League Cup in midweek. He only made his 50th appearance for the club against Burnley last weekend, and he couldn't really miss. He took it very, very well. Let's get another update from Celtic with Roddy.
1 each to go, 4 minutes to go, and Tom Rogic has just hit the crossbar as United are visibly tiring under the Celtic onslaughts, but it's still Celtic 1, Dundee United 1.
Spurs yet to get really in the game, but they're on the attack now. Reguilon is sent away by Ndombele. It's his cross. Harry Kane leaves it. Tierney then was on the cover, although his ball went back towards his own goal. Lucas has chipped it in, and the cheers will tell you that it's gone straight out of play for a goal kick. But that's probably the first time that Tottenham have got round the back of Arsenal in the 15th minute as they trail by a goal to nil.
It's a good chance. Deno, first time cross with his left foot from Reguilon. Kane's in that near post, and the ball could have very easily dropped to Son in and around the penalty spot. it just didn't get a kind enough deflection to drift into that area. If it had, Son was arriving completely unmarked and just picked his spot, really. But very good chance for Tottenham. Just shows you Arsenal have got to be on their toes. They've got the quality in attacking wide areas, especially Tottenham, to really hurt you.
There was one statistic that caught my eye when looking at this North London derby, and it's happened more times in the history of the Premier League than any other fixture, but the team scoring first has failed to win this contest on 28 occasions. And but it's Arsenal, however. Try as Aubameyang spins away from Sanchez and sends over a first-time cross that Reguilon hasn't dealt with. Saka to Ødegaard, back with Saka once again, right-hand side. Thomas Partey shoots, and it's beaten and turned behind by Hugo Lloris. And Thomas Partey denied his first goal for the club with a fearsome right-footed drive, and Arsenal were close for a second.
Well, what an electric start to this game. What an enjoyable match this is to watch. Fantastic football from both teams, but Arsenal especially. Some of their creative passing has been spot on. I haven't seen a misplaced pass hardly in the attacking third, and the ball set back to Partey with a great right-footed effort.
Ødegaard with the corner, Gabriel unmarked, heads it back in there. White's up there as well, hammered away by Tanganga with a left-footed volley inside his 6-yard area. I think if that second goal would have gone in, then that statistic would have been banished, I think. It was almost a curse of the commentator, but Arsenal are looking for a second. It's Aubameyang! And it's a rising right-footed drive that had Lloris springing into action. He didn't get a touch off his fellow Frenchman as it whistled over the top. And Arsenal at the minute are looking threatening every single time they're going forward.
You can just keep that statistic in your notebook, Deno, if you don't mind. Don't bring that one out again. Okay.
That says the former Arsenal defender.
No, it's interesting because I think this balance of Saka on the right and Smith Rowe on the left is a really good plan from Arteta, because he has Tierney, who, let's face it, half the time is playing like a wing back. He gets up and down so well and he's such an attacking fullback. You don't lose that balance of the crossing ability from the left-hand side. And Smith Rowe then is allowed to come a little bit more central, which is where he scored his goal from. Coming from out to in, arriving in the middle of the box, and Saka's out on this right-hand side. It's got a lovely balance across that middle of the pitch at the moment.
Well, at least one statistic was right when I said that we would have at least one goal in this game.
You've got to get something right then, haven't you?
I have, yeah, you're right. BBC Radio 5 Live in the World Service. And it's Arsenal who are 1-0 up, and we're in the 18th minute. And what is a glorious, glorious afternoon in North London. The fluffy white clouds, the blue sky, the sun shining. Arsenal have given the ball away. Son now forward of the centre circle. He's got Lucas, Dele Alli and Harry Kane all ahead of him. He waits though and passes the ball out towards Tanganga. Højbjerg now takes over. And Ndombele just over the halfway line, left-hand side. Spurs in their white shirts and navy shorts playing from right to left. Lucas central area, short diagonal ball. Son. Ali out to Tanganga, tries to shift it away from the goal scorer Smith Rowe. He delivers the cross, but in fact Smith Rowe did enough to put him off, and it's gone all the way behind for a goal kick. And everything at the minute that Arsenal are doing is coming off. Even when you might have had that, an Arsenal supporter, the negativity about Xhaka's playing, that's been dispelled as well.
When's the last time you saw Arsenal players committed as this though, Deno? Can you remember the last time you saw them with this type of intensity? And I think it's a good question because you have to try and create that. I know it's a derby, so it's there naturally, but you know, creating this type of application hasn't been in this Arsenal team. It just shows you what's capable when it is, and it's just about the mindset. The first into the tackle and the energy in the team at the moment is off the charts.
But regardless what team you're playing in, whether it's the Dog and Duck on a Sunday afternoon or the Premier League here at the Emirates, the one thing you want from your team is application and hard work, endeavour, desire, those sort of attributes.
People assume it's a given, you know, that there's different levels of it, isn't there? And how far you're willing to go. And the Arsenal players at the moment are just that little step above in terms of first to the ball, anticipation, into the tackle, and also with possession. You can be so aggressive with the ball. 2 or 3 times they've broken lines with passes into Ødegaard in the pocket. I'm not sure if Højbjerg is too deep or just out of position, but it seems to be very easy just to break that line and get the ball into Ødegaard, and he can turn and play.
Hansi Flick, the German manager, I think he was at Brentford yesterday for that enthralling draw between Brentford and Liverpool. He's now taking in the North London derby here today. Leno, of course, is on the bench, has been displaced by Aaron Ramsdale, who's looking to try and make it 4 clean sheets in 4 appearances since getting the goalkeeper's position, as it's cleared away by Tomiyasu. Arsenal lead by a 1-0, just over 20 minutes played. Eric Dyer, short ball, gets it back then from Højbjerg and Ndombele. But it's very, very slow and predictable from Tottenham at the moment. Here is Ndombele, forward ball. Ali lays it off to Lucas. Quite deep there, Lucas. Just forward of the centre circle. He finds Ali now right-hand side of the penalty area. Doesn't get the better of Tierney. And Tierney clears. Up then towards Sanchez. Spurs get the ball back inside the Arsenal half, looking for an equaliser. Lucas is forward. Lucas to Son. Little back heel there to Ali. Wouldn't run for him, and brought away by Xhaka out of the penalty area, just when they thought they might have had a sight of the goal.
It was Kieran Tierney, wasn't it? Great covering, defending from the left back. Saw the danger, got in, but I thought Dele Alli was a little bit slow in having his first touch. He didn't latch onto that pass very quickly.
Son's won it back though for Spurs off Ødegaard. Forward now into the penalty area. The angle is tight, but he had a go anyway. And Ramsdale was forced into action, dropping to his knees, making the save at his near post and tipping it behind for a corner kick. It's a corner to Tottenham. Arsenal lead by a 1-0. Well,
Thomas Partey got put in a difficult position there. He almost was faced up on the corner of the 18-yard box with Son, who goes onto his left foot. Partey just does enough to put a bit of pressure on him, narrowing the angle, so the shot goes to the near post of Ramsdale, and he's able to deal with it. But it just shows you how Son, at the flip of a coin, can just get into that space and really hurt you.
Son to take the corner kick on this near side, the left. In it comes now, and it was Tanganga who tried to meet it, and in fact did get his head on it in the inside of the 6-yard box on that near side, but his headed was directed wide and into the Arsenal supporters, and it will be a goal kick midway through a first half that is absolutely flown by. Arsenal leading by a 1-0 in the 190th North London derby in all competitions. Ramsdale. Tottenham did well in the first half against Chelsea, and then they collapsed as Chelsea's quality and superiority showed last week. Here, for the best part of this 23 minutes, it's Arsenal who've been the better of the two.
I mean, that little passage there, and I know Arsenal didn't keep the ball because Ndombele just got back and got a toe in, but it's been so easy for White or Gabriel to find one of the midfield players. They can turn, and then they're just firing passes into Ødegaard, who's moving along the line, just trying to find the space. And Tottenham haven't got to grips with it yet. They won that ball there, but 3 or 4 occasions it's been quite easy just to get Ødegaard on the ball. It's too easy from a Tottenham point of view.
Harry Kane from long range, he must be at least 30 yards out, turns, balloons his right-footed shot high and over the top. It remains Arsenal 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Full time at Celtic Park. Roddy Forsyth.
Yeah, Celtic 1, Dundee United 1. 5 minutes of injury time couldn't help Celtic. They took the lead in the first half. Leila Bada with a header promptly yielded that advantage. Ian Harkis with a header within 90 seconds, and 3 times through Ajeti, Rogic and Yoto they hit the bar, but it wasn't good enough to give them a victory. Celtic 1, Dundee United 1.
Thank you, Roddy. London Irish Sale, Sarah Orchard.
London Irish 31, Sale 31, 79 minutes on the clock. An enthralling comeback by Irish, who trailed by 17 points at the break, but 3 tries in this second half and they've levelled. We've got just 30 seconds left to play. London Irish 31, Sale 31.
Hibs 1, St Johnstone 0 is a full-time score as well from in the Scottish Premiership from Easter Road. Hibs 1, St Johnstone 0. 24 minutes played here. Slight lull in proceedings as Arteta, animated as ever, decked out all in black, matching the colour of his hair. Down below, as bright sunny afternoon, Arsenal play the ball out from the back with White now across to the Japanese international Takehiro Tomiyasu on this near side, who's settled in well. And ball over the top now by White to Saka. Reguilon clears it away. Højbjerg to Ndombele. Midway through the Tottenham Hotspur half, Son drops back over the halfway line and then gets the ball back, the South Korean, and runs forward. looking for Ali as well as Harry Kane. I mean, I know it was on Match of the Day 2 a lot last week about how deep Harry Kane was dropping in their analysis. But again, when Son picked up that ball, there must have been a number of yards in terms of a gap between Kane and the two central defenders. He wasn't occupying either White or Gabriel.
No, I mean, we're used to seeing Kane in that role, though, aren't we? And dropping in and Son making those runs. I think that's the pattern that has had the most success for Spurs, with Kane dropping deep and either Lucas or Son moving. But like you say, areas on the pitch, especially if it's wide on this left, sometimes that role is going to be Son, and it has to be reversed, and Harry Kane has to make that run and try and get in behind. And just that balance or connection that isn't quite firing for Spurs at the moment.
26 minutes played. That's the voice of Matt Upson, who finished his Premier League career actually up against Harry Kane.
You're going to say how many games I won against Tottenham?
No, I wasn't actually. I was going to do you a favour. But now you've mentioned it, it's also Matthew Upson, the former England international, who only won 1 in 15 occasions against Tottenham in his career.
You so very kindly informed me of that. Not that I knew that anyway, Deno, but it's a really nice stat to know anyway. Thanks for that.
But you were aware that it wasn't a good record?
Yeah, I was. I don't have many happy memories of coming away from White Hart Lane or even playing Spurs at home.
Well, Arteta is actually unbeaten in 6 as a player and a manager here at the Emirates against Tottenham, and he sees his side with a slender lead, although that was a loose ball out from Ramsdale. They got away with it, Arsenal, actually down to Xhaka's awareness. Now up towards Aubameyang, he lays the ball off, and Smith Rowe, the goal scorer, powering his way in towards the penalty area. Smith Rowe back to Aubameyang, and Arsenal have got a second goal. Aubameyang and Smith Rowe, and Arsenal combine there. And it's the Arsenal captain who doubles their lead. Delight inside the Emirates. It's Arsenal 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
Wow, that is just too good from Arsenal. Too good, that type of counter-attacking football. It's absolutely brilliant. It had pace, it had precision. Aubameyang dropping deep, Smith Rowe on the run, which he does so well, Emile Smith Rowe. He loves to kind of follow his pass. He lays it off initially, Tierney into the front, but continues his run. Aubameyang drags Sanchez into an area that he just doesn't want to go. I thought Emile Smith Rowe was going to cut inside Sanchez, but he decides to stay on the left-hand side, like he doesn't have the beating of him for pace. But then he gets his head up. Aubameyang's continued his run into the box, is around the penalty spot. Smith Rowe cuts it back brilliantly, and what a finish with his left foot. Aubameyang guides that into the bottom corner. Lloris has absolutely no chance, and Tottenham pulled apart by a quite brilliant counter-attack.
And if you think back, it all came from Xhaka's experience, his awareness and his strength, because it was a loose ball from Ramsdale, and I don't know who was trying to close down Xhaka, but Xhaka backed into him. Turned him and then released the counter-attack.
He used his body and got the ball to Smith Rowe, who then started the attack. It was good play. He recognised he was in trouble and used his body brilliantly. But I just looked at Mikel Arteta on the replay. I mean, he is jumping for joy, punching the air, looks super happy, and rightly so.
It's going to take something special now, isn't it, from Tottenham to try and come from behind here, 2-0 down.
Yeah, well, historically, the team that scores first struggles a little bit, but at the moment we're not seeing that happen. Whether or not the game can turn, which we know it can, it absolutely can with the quality that Tottenham have in the team. But Arsenal at the moment don't seem like letting up with this relentless desire to want to press and get on the ball and do everything just that little bit better than Tottenham at the moment.
It was 31 apiece, the last we heard from from Sarah Orchard, between London Irish and Sale. How did it finish, Sarah?
Full-time London Irish 31, Sale 31. It was a great comeback from the home side, who did look down and out at half-time, but they bounced back. Paddy Jackson even had a penalty to try and win it on the final whistle, but it bounced off the post. Full-time London Irish 31, Sale 31.
Thanks, Sarah. BBC Radio 5 Live here at the Emirates. Arsenal lead Tottenham Hotspur by 2-0. And as it stands, they will actually be going above Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League table, which is remarkable when you think that, albeit only after match day 3, Spurs were top and Arsenal were bottom. But the fortunes have been switched role reversal time, and it's Arsenal who've managed to gain a little bit of confidence with those 1-0 victories against Norwich and Burnley, and have just had too much for Tottenham.
Just that instant there. Tackles going in, Kane's got the ball, but the swarm of red shirts all around him trying to win it. Kane recovers the ball, but then there's another tackle coming in from somewhere. It's just relentless from Arsenal at the moment. I mean, I've not seen them play with this intensity for a long time, and it's really enjoyable to watch. I have to say, the game has been fantastic. Both teams giving a decent account of themselves, but Arsenal at the moment, just that cut above.
And when you talk about Arsenal's intensity, how would you compare that to Tottenham Hotspur?
Well, it's just overpowering them. They're not matching it, Spurs, and I think that's the worst thing you can have levelled at you in the derby, that you're not matching the desire, the intensity to win the ball back. Sometimes it might be not confident enough in the organisation or the structure of the team to go and press properly, but they're certainly not getting after Arsenal. Like I saw them in the first half against Chelsea at home, it was really good pressing from Spurs, and Arsenal have been able to play out and look really accomplished and comfortable on the ball, and part of that is the quality. They've had fantastic quality so far, but Ramsdale again just finding Partey with a pass, and he's got acres of space to turn, plays it out to Tierney, and just in total control at the moment, Arsenal.
A cacophony of noise inside the Emirates from the Arsenal supporters, because as it's just turned 5 o'clock on this Sunday afternoon, their side are leading their arch rivals by 2-0, and thoroughly deserved as well from Mikel Arteta and his team. White with a little nudge back to Gabriel, slides it forward to Xhaka. Ødegaard running off the ball. Tottenham win it, offside against Harry Kane, coming back from an offside position. Free kick to Arsenal.
It's a brilliant press, the back four. Really well organised back four. They got up the moment the ball got set back. It was a little trigger, squeezed a few yards. Kane just half a yard offside, but again, I mean, how much space did Xhaka have on the ball there? Højbjerg seems to be a little bit in no man's land for me. He's screening Sanchez and Dyer, but he's not affecting the man on the ball. He's not getting out and impacting Ødegaard or Xhaka at all. He's just sitting in a space, shadow boxing.
But it's also, I mean, we've just seen another example there, Smith Rowe. It's the movement off the ball as well, because whilst you talk about Xhaka, Ødegaard left and Ndombele, there was a number of yards between the two of them. Arsenal are so much sharper in every respect.
Totally, but it's shadow boxing. It really is. It's passive from Tottenham. They're not getting anywhere near close enough in the middle of the park, and then the attacking players are just making the runs, and there's spaces everywhere.
Dele Alli heading the ball back to Harry Kane, who picks it up midway through his own half here, Harry Kane, and then passes the ball out to Ndombele, lets it run through to Reguilon, Son, but even now Harry Kane is still only over the halfway line and still not really busting his way to get to the penalty area. And Ndombele, though, will find the England captain now, but then he stumbles, loses his balance, and the ball is passed away by Xhaka to Ødegaard, to Smith Rowe, and Smith Rowe to Saka, and they can exploit the gap left by Reguilon. And Saka now running forward. It's 3 against 2. Saka tries to pass the ball back. He'll go it alone. It comes back to Saka, and he scores. And Arsenal are running away with this one, to the delight of the Arsenal supporters, because Saka has scored his first league goal in 20 games. It's his first since January, to make it Arsenal 3, Tottenham Hotspur 0. It was Harry Kane with a sliding challenge to initially deny Saka, but it popped back up to the England international, and he hit it low. 3 goals for Arsenal.
Wow, I mean, Tottenham just being torn apart by this rampant Arsenal performance. Saka on the right-hand side, is Kane that gives the ball away initially, dwells on it, gets tackled. But the moment Arsenal win that ball, the turnover's so impressive. The spaces are everywhere. Dyer's getting isolated, 1v1 with Xhaka coming into the box with Saka, and Kane makes a recovery tackle. He gets back brilliantly. His attitude to get back Harry Kane and win it is superb. But he's very unfortunate because the ricochet, the tackle, falls straight into the path of Saka. And with his right foot, he just guides the ball into the bottom corner. Hugo Lloris with absolutely no chance with any of these 3 goals. Really composed finish, but what a start from Arsenal. I mean, you just can't believe 3-0 up, and Arteta again, the celebrations massive from him.
Arsenal have been sensational in this first half, and Tottenham Hotspur, it's been a sorry 35 minutes as they trail by 3-0. You can't see a way back for Tottenham. I mean, strange things have happened before, and never say never and all that. But the way that Tottenham are playing, but the way that Arsenal, who are absolutely buzzing at the moment, 3-0, and Nuno Espirito Santo has just been left dumbfounded.
Yeah, you rolled that stat out a little bit early, Deno. You just jumped the gun on that one a little bit, didn't you?
Well, it's still a fact.
Yeah. It is a fact, and it's something that Arsenal don't appear to be aware of at all, because since they've scored the first goal, they've just grown and grown. And if anything, you sometimes see these derbies, don't you? Like you say, the first goal goes in and then it gets a little bit cautious. You become a little bit, let's just sit in for 5 minutes. I've seen none of that from this Arsenal team. They've been on the front foot since the first whistle, since the first kick of the game, and they still are. After 3 goals, they don't even look like letting up. And I don't know where Tottenham go with this at the moment. They'll want to get in for half-time and just try and regroup.
Well, today could yet be still one of those days where you remember where you were because you witness incredible comebacks, whether it be for Tottenham in the football, or indeed for Europe in the Ryder Cup, or it might just go the way of form. And as Arsenal are running away with this one, just as the United States are with the Ryder Cup. But regardless, I hope we still have the pleasure of your company, because Arsenal are 3-0 up. And of course, the United States are leading 11-5 ahead of the singles. Uninterrupted coverage of 5 Live Sports Extra of that until the conclusion of this game. But it's going to need some sort of a turnaround, whether it be here at the Emirates or indeed at Whistling Straits by Europe or Tottenham. But at the minute, it is the red and white of Arsenal who will not want this half-time whistle to come.
I mean, how concerned is Nuno going to be over when that ball gets turned over? They just look so open, don't they? I mean, Arsenal look like if they get a few passes off, they could just carve them open at any time. It's good quality play, don't get me wrong, but when players are given that amount of space that the Arsenal midfield and wide players have at the moment, they're going to tear you apart. They're quality players. You've got to get tighter in and amongst it, shut the space down, put pressure on the ball, and it hasn't happened in this game, and Arsenal took full advantage.
Well, January to February is the last time that Tottenham lost 3 successive games, but in their entire history they have never lost 3 successive matches with at least a 3-goal margin in the top flight. But that's what they're facing at the moment. Corner kick to Tottenham. Son to take it right-hand side, and Harry Kane with a header about 12 yards out, wide of the right-hand post.
Chance.
Just tried to place it, didn't it?
Yeah, it's a chance. Big chance from Kane. The corner comes in. Doesn't get marked particularly well. I think it's Ben White doesn't get out. There's a little bit of confusion as to who's picking him up, which is poor because Kane's the danger man and he gets ahead. He should hit the target. It's a free header. He tries to punch it downwards. It's a good header down, but it's just wide of that far post.
That's, I think, by my reckoning, only their second chance, Tottenham. Son had that effort, which was saved by Ramsdale at the near post.
Yeah, second chance, but looks like he's had a bit of a short back and sides, Harry Kane, as well, a bit similar to you, Deno.
It's in vogue, I think, at the minute. Saka, Reguilon with a challenge. Foul, free kick to Arsenal. And we got 6 minutes to go to half-time.
I can't remember a yellow card yet. No. It's been competitive though, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Some good tackles, but really measured, and I think that's the quality of it as well. They've been really well timed, really accurate, not reckless, but it's been a on the front foot, pretty frantic game.
Arsenal go back from Tomiyasu to Ben White, the England international, signing from Brighton. Forward, Saka lays it off, Ødegaard the return ball. That was nice from Arsenal. Ødegaard's going to go on the overlap. Here he is now, right hand side, infield. Partey able to turn. Partey then goes back. Gabriel forward, outside the centre circle of the Tottenham half, forward to Partey. Every outfield player in the Tottenham half, but the finding spaces are Arsenal. No, but they can't get close to Arsenal, Tottenham. Ødegaard had just made a run off Højbjerg. Højbjerg then with the interception, he hits it forward, but it's an unchallenged header back by Gabriel. Højbjerg heads it away, given away then by Ali to Partey. Saka lays it off. Tomiyasu forward. Saka forward again to Aubameyang. Tomiyasu's continued his run into the penalty area. Aubameyang stands over the cross, just over the head of Smith Rowe. Tierney will get there. Plays the ball back. This is Xhaka. Hits it. Kneed away by Højbjerg. They're like a boxer on the ropes, aren't they?
He's got to play that back to Kieran Tierney. He slips it into Xhaka. He tries to cross it, but Tierney's made that lovely little run. He's got to the byline and then he's picking people out, but it's just at will at the moment from Arsenal. The midfield three of Tottenham, Ali and Ndombele, have been nowhere in this game defensively. They've not got to grips with the middle of the park at all, and it's just running riot. The spaces are everywhere, and like I said earlier, they've just got to try and limp it into half-time, Tottenham, and I'd be very surprised if there aren't changes at half-time.
From an observer's point of view, Matt, I'm looking at the intensity from Arsenal.
Yep.
I'm looking at the movement, the pace, and obviously the ruthless finishing that has seen them lead by 3-0 against a Tottenham side that appears to be labouring and second best all over the pitch.
That's a pretty accurate analysis. Don't know if I'm honest. That's exactly what's happening, and so difficult to call what this game was going to be, wasn't it? No one really said, "Oh, I think this is going to happen," or that didn't really know, and this is a surprise. It's a surprise to see Arsenal so dominant in this game. You wouldn't have thought that, but it's how it's playing out at the moment. This is local derby football.
Well, what was it he said after the Norwich win? He said it was the best week or the best 10 days of his football life, Mikel Arteta, which some believe to be quite a bizarre claim.
But this could top it.
Well, it's certainly been the catalyst, if nothing else, because they built on that with a victory at Burnley last weekend, and they're now looking at 3 successive wins.
I mean, you were there, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Burnley. I mean, if there's any fixture in the calendar that Arsenal don't like, it's Burnley away. In the way they were. To go there and get a 1-0 win was impressive.
Yeah. Small steps to recovery. Arsenal certainly on that road to recovery, it would seem, after a challenging and difficult start to the campaign. And meanwhile, penny for the thoughts of Nuno Espirito Santo and Tottenham Hotspur, after churning out the 1-0 victories against Manchester City, Wolves and Watford. They lost 3-0 to Palace, they lost 3-0 to Chelsea, and they now find themselves 3-0 down, not even at half-time, here at the Emirates. Partey heading it forward, Ødegaard back with a little flick around waist height, and then Tomiyasu, who I think could be a really good signing from Bologna, the Japanese international at right back.
He looks good, doesn't he?
He does.
Good defensively, he's got a bit of physical stature, can go forward as well. I think the Arsenal fans have really taken to him.
He's acclimatised well. It's only his 3rd appearance for such a young man, 22 years of age, Japanese international, who they signed from Bologna for just over £17 million. Højbjerg over the halfway line. Passes the ball out to Tanganga, right back for Tottenham. Lucas on that right touch line to Højbjerg. Switches play now to Reguilon, cut out though by Tomiyasu. Can also play in the centre of defence if required, so he offers that little bit of versatility. But again, Arsenal, and this occasion was they were passing the ball at the back, but almost caught in possession.
He looks like a defensive fullback that can play a bit, Deno. Arsenal have been used to the reverse of that. An attacking fullback who can defend a little bit. And I think I always like the balance where the defensive element is heavier than the going forward. I don't think he's as attacking as a Bellerin or he's going to get forward, but he's got decent quality going forward. But in terms of his positioning, sticking to the task, filling in that role, he doesn't go missing. It's very reliable. I think that's the huge credentials for that position of fullback.
Voice of authority when it comes to defending from Matt Upson here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Lucas passes the ball into the penalty area, partially cleared. Højbjerg then loses out in the challenge to White. Saka plays the ball back to Partey, midway through his own half. We're inside the last 30 seconds, and now Partey with what a delicious diagonal ball that was. And it was just, from an Arsenal point of view, a shame that Aubameyang was unable to get that little touch as he was faced by Dyer one-on-one, because Dyer then was able to take it away from him. But in terms of the distribution, it was a wonderful ball.
Fantastic pass. Thomas Partey gets his head up. He knows where the danger is. Aubameyang pulls off brilliantly. His first touch just let him down. It was a tough ball to bring out. He tries to pluck it out of the sky, almost on the half volley, and control it with the outside of his right boot and cut straight inside, all in one. It's a really difficult touch, and fortunately for Dyer, he made a heavy touch which allowed him just to sweep up and take the ball off Aubameyang.
What's going to happen at half-time? Myself and Matt will just give you a couple of minutes to analyse what we've witnessed in this first 45 minutes, and then we'll head into the news, and then we'll get the latest from our Ryder Cup coverage in the very early stages of the final day of the Ryder Cup, and then we'll be back for the second half, and then on conclusion of the football here, we will have the Ryder Cup concluding here on BBC Radio 5 Live. But it's going to have to be some half-time team talk as far as Tottenham are concerned. We're into 2 minutes of added on time, and it's 3-0 to Arsenal.
When you see that ball that Thomas Partey just blocks there, that Højbjerg tries to fire that into Son. Arsenal has screened really well. They've filled those holes a little bit better, made life more difficult for Tottenham to break lines with passes and find their attacking players in the space.
Here is Højbjerg. Already noticed that there's some empty red seats in the Tottenham Hotspur quadrant on that far side. I'm sure that they haven't left just yet. Maybe just decided to get some half-time refreshments, or maybe they have left. Maybe it has been too much, as we mentioned before, about how, regardless of who you support, on Derby Day you have that stomach-churning experience. Well, I think all those butterflies in the stomach will have soon disappeared from an Arsenal point of view. They'll be just soaking it up and revelling in this. Arsenal leading by 3-0 as Lucas forward here for Tottenham Hotspur. But Arsenal have everybody back, every red and white shirt back behind the ball. And not much for Tottenham to try and prize their way through. And there is the half-time whistle. A half-time scoreline. Arsenal 3, Tottenham Hotspur 0. And Arsenal are in the dream scenario, but what has been a thoroughly deserved performance from Mikel Arteta's side, Matt Upson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just watching the players come in, and Gabriel, they're all running in. That speaks volumes. They're running in. Gabriel's gone, get in, no walking in, we're not going to stroll in. Smith Rowe's just coming off the pitch. And the body language and the comparison that you see from the players, it's just infectious. And I think that's how they've played. From that very first tackle, we spoke about Ben White's tackle. Went to ground, aggressive, decisive tackle, set the tone for the game, and they've continued from there.
Well, Arsenal took the lead through Smith Rowe after 12 minutes. It was Saka on the right-hand side pulling the ball back. Smith Rowe, tidy finish. They then went close. Partey had a drive, saved by Lloris. Aubameyang over the top before Spurs even registered a first effort on goal, and that was Son. Ramsdale at his near post, turning it behind. Kane since had a free header from a corner that was wide, but that's been it from Tottenham. But Kane's header was actually when they were already 3-0 down, because Ramsdale's loose ball from the back. Xhaka did well to back into his man, release the break down that left-hand side, and it was Aubameyang and Smith Rowe combining, and Aubameyang getting the goal, and then Saka with 2 bites at it to get the third goal 11 minutes before half-time. But they've been ruthless, Arsenal.
Oh, so ruthless, so energetic, positive on the front. I mean, I can't use many more words to describe that type of performance in a game like this. It's been massively needed, especially at home. The home supporters have needed to turn up here and see a performance like that, just to keep the belief of where the team's going, and they've certainly held up to that end of the bargain. From a Spurs point of view, it's massive for them. They have to go in and they have to try and consolidate. I mean, performances like this are big trouble for managers. I mean, the scoreline's damaging, but the performance has been poor from Tottenham all over the pitch in nearly every department. They're going to have to put that right in the second half regardless.
That's the voice of Matt Upson. I hope we have the pleasure of your company for the second half. We'll be back here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Half-time here, it's Arsenal 3, Tottenham Hotspur 0. And don't forget as well that tomorrow night on 5 Live, we've got Crystal Palace against Brighton and Hove Albion, Champions League action on Tuesday and Wednesday, Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester City, Manchester United, Villarreal. But during the half-time break after the news, we're going to be getting the latest with the early stages of the Ryder Cup. The final day, of course, is the singles, as the United States lead Europe by 11-5. And that will come after the latest news on BBC Radio 5 Live, brought to you by Joe Pritchard.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The Petrol Retailers Association, which represents independent garages, says panic buying has left as many as two-thirds of them without fuel. The initial shortages were caused by a lack of tanker drivers to deliver petrol. The government is asking people to be sensible and to only fill up when they need to. Ministers are also giving 5,000 temporary visas to foreign HGV drivers, although supermarkets and hauliers say that's not enough. Meanwhile, farmers are warning of a Christmas turkey shortage because visa changes to allow labour recruitment from abroad have come too late. A poultry association says big producers have already scaled back because they didn't think they'd have enough staff to process birds. The head of Ofgem has rejected claims from the industry that it failed to adequately regulate the energy market. 6 smaller suppliers have recently gone bust, leaving around 1.5 million customers facing higher bills. Jonathan Brearley says no one could have predicted the rise in gas prices. And Alan Lancaster, the founding member of Status Quo, has died aged 72. The group's lead singer, Francis Rossi, says the bassist was an integral part of the sound and the enormous success of Status Quo during the 60s and 70s.
BBC Sounds. Welcome to Desert Island Discs, where guests look back on their lives.
I think art transports you in a different world, and that's what sport can do in general.
Sharing the tracks they'd listen to if they were cast away.
Growing up with boxing, it was quite tough to deal with the criticism. This song got me out there training.
We had this whole joke about dry your eyes, mate, don't worry. And that song forever resonated with those moments with my dad.
Desert Island Discs. Discover hundreds of episodes on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
Europe are off to a very, very good start in the Ryder Cup singles, although there are only 2 matches out on the course, so we don't want to get too carried away, although we are getting slightly carried away if you've been listening to us on 5 Live Sports Extra. On 5 Live, of course, it's been the North London derby. Arsenal are walloping Tottenham at half-time. Arsenal 3, Tottenham 0. The second half on the way on 5 Live with Ian Dennis. But if you are listening to us on 5 Live Sport, let's just bring you up to date with how the singles have started. Ian Carter, our correspondent, is at Whistling Straight. It's very early. It's very early. there is a mountain to climb, but they're off to a good start.
They are off to a good start, Europe, and an encouraging start in terms of the errors that the United States have made, because we haven't seen any of them in the first 2 days yet. On the first green, Xander Schauffele missed a very short putt, didn't even hit the hole. That was for a birdie that would halve with Rory McIlroy. McIlroy won the hole with his birdie, very calmly holing from 5 feet. And we've just seen Patrick Cantlay with a routine pitch from just short of the first green, send it all the way through the back of the green. So signs of a little bit of American anxiety, which is an extraordinary thought when you consider that they lead 11-5 after the first 2 days.
Absolutely. Interesting start, Paul Waring, European Tour golfer, isn't it?
It is. Massive mistake from Xander Schauffele on the first hole, missing the hole completely from 3 foot. And then Cantlay now through the back of the first hole, almost looked a little bit thin from his 40-yard pitch.
Shane Lowry's pitch into about 15 feet. He was very cautious with his down the hill. Cantlay through the back in the bunker here, playing his 3rd shot on this par 4. Picks it off the sand cleanly. That comes skidding towards the hole, and that's a brilliant recovery from Patrick Cantlay. That looks within gimme range, although we'll have another look when we get a better camera angle on it. And it looks like Shane Lowry, I think he's being thrown the ball there. Shane Lowry will have a birdie putt to come to try and win that hole and get Europe 1 up in the match. Rory McIlroy 1 up in his match because of the Schauffele missed putt, and McIlroy was able to hole his 5-footer for a birdie back to match 1. John.
Yeah, let me tell you as well that Rory McIlroy has hit an absolute snorter into the second green, the par 5, and he's got a makeable eagle putt. But now his opponent Schauffele is chipping for eagle, but it is rolling on and on past the hole, and that is fully 16-18 feet. So McIlroy has a putt coming, which, if he gets it, would put him 2 up.
It looks edgy from the Americans, from both Schauffele and Cantlay, who've been nerveless and brilliant so far throughout. It's looked...
Schauffele.
It has looked Schauffele, exactly. Paul, what about this putt for Shane Lowry?
Similar line to Rory, so just a little bit longer, so we know it's going to be a little bit down the hill, a little bit out of the left. I think Lowry would be a little bit disappointed he didn't hit this closer. I saw him up near the green, sort of having a look at how Cantlay was going to react. I think he'd be a bit disappointed he wasn't a bit more aggressive.
Holed some big Ryder Cup putts yesterday. Can he hold this one on the first for a birdie? Turning left to right, looks brilliant from Lowry, and it just didn't turn enough, and that's why you hear the American cheers. But it was a good putt by Lowry. He goes down on his haunches. It's a slightly rueful smile, but again he looks settled and as if he's enjoying the occasion, and he'll certainly be boosted by the shot that Cantlay played with his second into that first.
Absolutely. So when you do something like that with Cantlay, it's a bit unsettling, really.
Rory having a very good chance then to go 2 up through 2. Lowry and Cantlay all square as they head to the second tee. If you haven't been listening to us on 5 Live Sports Extra, let me just read how the singles are going to pan out. Next up, you can hear them on that first tee, Scotty Scheffler and Jon Rahm, Europe's best player over the last 2 days, the world #1, of course. Then we're going to have fun and games. Bryson DeChambeau and Sergio go out against each other. Then Colin Morikawa will take on Victor Hovland, and then 6th out, Dustin Johnson and Paul Casey. So that's the first half of the draw, with Jon Rahm on the first tee. Cat downs.
Yeah, you can hear the crowd chanting along with each of his practice swings. Jon Rahm, who's been a titan for Europe, hasn't he? And they are they are needing him to deliver once again. 3.5 points for the European tally of 5 have all come from the golf club of Jon Rahm. What can he produce in the singles, with Europe needing an almost biblical miracle? Up into the cloudy sky of Wisconsin goes the first drive of Jon Rahm, and it's found the centre of the fairway, not as enormous as the drives we saw from McIlroy and Schauffele in the first group, but it is safe, and it is down the middle, and Jon Rahm is off to a solid start. Scotty Scheffler's had a good rummage as well, hasn't he, in the Team US kit bag, and he's brought out a kind of tank top style short sleeve jumper with a zip down the neck underneath, red short sleeve polo neck with a navy blue collar, and a bright red baseball cap matching the colour of the hoardings that surround this first tee on those big grandstands. It's like a slightly lower trajectory from Scotty Scheffler. The man from Dallas, Texas, chases Jon Rahm down the first fairway and overtakes him by 20-30 feet past. Good drive from Scotty Scheffler, Paul Weller.
Yeah, 2 great tee shots down the first hole. Again, I keep listening for that. I'm going quickly to Rory McIlroy.
So this is a putt for an eagle to win the hole for McIlroy from 14 feet. No, it will miss on the left-hand side. Rolls on by 3.5, 4 feet. Give it a go.
Yeah, gave it a go, which was nice and positive. Yeah, just back to that first, I keep listening out for that quieting of the crowd once a European drive takes off. You know, it's a good one then.
Well, all 3 Europeans have driven brilliantly on the first, haven't they?
Looking at Shane Lowry's drive off the second, and he's done exactly the same thing. That's the par 5 second, 593 yards, called cross country, and Lowry has settled very nice. He couldn't hold the birdie putt on the first. He's all square against Cantlay, but he's hit another big boomer down the middle of that fairway.
He can't stop smiling. Xander Schauffele next, John Murray.
This is for his birdie putt at the second. McIlroy's to come from much closer, and Schauffele, it's dribbling, it's in towards the hole and in, and that was a good comeback from Schauffele, and I don't think he will concede McIlroy's.
I don't think he has. I don't think
make McIlroy putt after his miss on the first.
spectators lining either side of the par 5 second. What a glorious, smooth swing that was from Patrick Cantlay. He's looking slightly concerned about it heading down the left-hand side, but it's only the left-hand side of the fairway. It bounces, it pitches, it rolls and it runs, and it just runs out of fairway and sits on the slightly fluffier grass. First cut, no problems for Cantlay down the second.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy 1 up in his match. Just got a hole out here, which he does. 1 stride towards the hole, plucks it out. McIlroy remains 1 up on Schauffele after 2.
So this is how the evening is going to pan out across 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra. The coverage of the Ryder Cup will continue on 5 Live Sports Extra now, with Europe up in 1, all square in 1, and the third match has just teed off. Scotty Scheffler and Jon Rahm. On 5 Live, the Ryder Cup coverage will continue until the trophy is awarded, once the second half of the North London Derby is concluded. And if Europe have got a task on their hands, then you could say exactly the same thing about Tottenham. Here's Ian Dennis at the Emirates.
That's exactly what we said in commentary, Mark, in the first half, because in fact this is a statistic from Opta-Joe. Arsenal, just in case you're just joining us for the second half, they went 3-0 up inside 34 minutes. The earliest a side has ever scored 3 goals in a Premier League North London derby, and the Gunners have never previously led by 3 goals at half-time in this fixture in the competition. And it's the 169th league meeting of the North London derby, and Nuno Espirito Santo is going to make a couple of changes straight away at the second half, because during the half-time interval we have seen Emerson and Oliver Skipp both warming up, so it's going to be a double change, Matt Upson, that Tottenham Hotspur are going to make.
Yeah, I mean, they have to. You know, they cannot continue in the way that they've been playing. It's just not possible. And I'm not surprised to see a change. It looks like Tanganga possibly is coming off, and Ali. I mean, the midfield's just been completely overran. Højbjerg, Ali and Ndombele have just not been able to get to grips at all. Partly because they haven't really been quite on the front foot, but also the passing and movement and quality from Arsenal has been at such a high level.
Well, Arsenal's record victory against Tottenham is 5-0, registered back in 1978. Although in more recent times they did register, in fact twice in 2012, 5-2 victories. So the double change is going to be made, and we're going to see Emerson coming on and Oliver Skipp. Arsenal haven't made any changes. Emerson, who they signed from Barcelona for just under £26 million, once that the 4th official has battled with the rather large electronic scoreboard. So the Dele Alli is the first player to go off. That's for Oliver Skipp. And then the second change for Emerson coming on is Tanganga going off at right back. So this is how Tottenham will line up. Lloris in goal, Emerson, Sanchez, Dyer and Reguilon, Skipp, Højbjerg and Ndombele, Lucas, Kane and Son. Tottenham Hotspur 3-0 down, white shirts, navy shorts, second half underway. BBC Radio 5 Live against an Arsenal side with Ramsdale in goal, Tomiyasu, Gabriel, White and Tierney. Straight away Arsenal are on the attack once more, cross headed out by Sanchez. The midfield of Xhaka and Partey, and then Ødegaard, Smith Rowe, Saka and Aubameyang. Aubameyang's back header picked up by Smith Rowe, but flags up on that far side, as still so many of the Arsenal fans getting to their seats. But there's a buzz of excitement going around the Emirates for what they've witnessed in that first half.
Well, there were some pretty interesting conversations, I'm sure, in and around the concourse while getting a drink or having a chat, and all positive from Arsenal fans in this first half. There's nothing to be negative about in this game whatsoever. It's been an outstanding performance so far, and that change from Spurs, we'll see if that can have an impact. I think Skipp is going to sit a little bit deeper with Højbjerg, just like Partey and Xhaka are doing. Instead of having Højbjerg as a 1 and 2 midfield players further up, they're going to sit with Skipp and Højbjerg in front of Dyer and Sanchez.
Here is Thomas Partey. He's going to shoot from distance, and it's a right-footed effort that's well off target. Actually, I said 1978, Arsenal won 5-0 against Spurs. Going further back, in fact, 1935 6-0, the rout away at White Hart Lane. So the biggest win by any team in the derby. So 6-0 back in 1935. I was only a slip of a lad in 1978.
I thought you were going to say 1935 then.
It's only with the looks. Tommy Yasso forward.
That haircut. It makes you look younger than
BBC Radio 5 Live and the World Service. If you want the uninterrupted golf coverage, you need to retune to 5 Live Sports Extra. We will, though, of course, have regular updates throughout the course of the afternoon. But as Mark says, is it a lost cause for Tottenham? Is it a lost cause for Europe? Well, we'll certainly get the answer with the football sooner than we will with regards to the golf. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that Ian Carter, John Murray et al. And Mark Chapman can keep me company on the way home. But it's Arsenal who are 3-0 up. They'll be going above Tottenham in the table as it stands as well. And Emerson. It's all about the response now, isn't it, from a Tottenham Hotspur side? But I know you didn't have a good record against Tottenham, but you might not have necessarily been in this position in a derby game when you're 3-0 down at half-time. But the supporters will want to see a response, if nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, it's possibly more important than the scoreline. I mean, if you can start to affect the scoreline, then brilliant. You know, that's real progress. But especially for the manager, he's got to see a change in the performance level of his team.
Skip sliding into a couple of challenges, and Dombele passes the ball then to Højbjerg, to Son. Now Harry Kane's in a forward position. Son cutting in off that left touch line. Second half, Tottenham are playing from left to right. Højbjerg to Skip, tidy midfielder, goes square. Sanchez, Emerson. Now with Højbjerg, but Arsenal have dropped off. Reguilon with a cross from the left-hand side, easily headed away by White, and then the cushion header by Reguilon. You could see what he wanted to do. Yeah. He wanted to try and guide it into the path of Son, but it went well behind Son and out for a throw.
It needed a real delicate touch, that header from Reguilon, just tried to guide it into Son. It's quite a difficult header, you have to get exactly the right purchase on the ball. I'm just looking at the monitor, and Nuno Espirito Santo is just standing there, arms crossed. The expression on his face is one that's just very stone-like, staring onto the pitch, not animated at all. Doesn't look happy, to say the least.
Well, that expression will be matched by many Tottenham supporters, grim-faced on what has been a grim afternoon, in stark contrast to the weather, which will certainly mirror how Arsenal fans are feeling this afternoon. The sun shining, clear blue skies up above the Emirates, and Arsenal supporters, wherever you look, high up in the gods away towards our right-hand side. They're up and out of their seats. They're certainly enjoying this North London derby experience, which actually tends to favour the home side. Only one of the last 21 meetings have been won by the away team. That was actually at Arsenal at White Hart Lane in 2014. It'll take something special for the away side to even get a point out of this contest. Here is Ødegaard, right corner of the area. Runs away off the knees of Ødegaard. Sanchez with a back pass, had to quickly get that out away from Lloris. Xhaka heads it forward. Smith Rowe challenged by Emerson. Still don't think we had a yellow card, have we?
No yellow card. I mean, the game, it's not like the game hasn't been played in a competitive spirit. It really has, but maybe that's down to the dominance of Arsenal, that there's been no yellow card. I haven't seen a Tottenham player get frustrated or lose their head or just try and wire into someone, which perhaps they needed in that first 20 minutes. Arsenal certainly set the tone with Ben White and a couple of other tackles.
Smith Rowe trying to make the spin away behind Emerson, but he marshals the ball safely out for a goal kick. Tottenham would be looking for a way back into the game as early as possible in this second half, but at the minute we've had 6 minutes in this second period. They're still trailing by 3-0 as the Arsenal fans make their feelings known about Tottenham Hotspur. No love lost. But this is the type of performance on the back of those victories against Norwich and Burnley that Arteta will be able to say to his players, This is the standard. That's the barometer.
Absolutely, and we're talking about something here. We're not talking about them achieving mass gains technically or tactically, maybe. A lot of this is just your mindset. It's just your attitude and application and intensity, and Arsenal on the attack again.
Tomiyasu with the interception. Saka feeds the ball towards the Japanese international, and he races away on the right-hand side, and his attempted cross is turned behind. They've had everything, this Arsenal side. They've had the enterprise, but they've also had the endeavour. And that is why every Arsenal supporter is up to their feet at the moment, because they are revelling and relishing this performance. Corner's taken short, right-hand side. Ødegaard to Smith Rowe, hits it in low. It was actually Tomiyasu who had a swing at it, didn't really connect, comes out to Tierney. Tierney pumps the ball back out towards the right corner of the area. Saka controls the ball, tries to get away from Skip. Good control by Saka. Smith Rowe, Saka's also there. Smith Rowe with his back to goal to Ødegaard. Arsenal threatening again, crosses to Aubameyang, and the header from Aubameyang, flying header, then turned behind by Sanchez. They're appealing for a penalty.
It's going to be a look here, surely.
It was Sanchez who just threw himself at it, the desperate lunge, but this will be looked at by VAR.
I think it was a foul on Gabriel. Prior to that, Aubameyang pulls to the back post. Gabriel comes running in to try and attack the header, and he's appealing that Sanchez has shoved him to the floor. I'm not sure. There is contact.
So they're looking for a foul. Sanchez on Gabriel.
I think he goes down, Deno, doesn't he? There's not much contact there. He goes down very, very easily. I think Sanchez is entitled to lean on him a little bit. They're going to come together.
It was looked at by VAR, and it's been dismissed by VAR.
Right decision.
Arteta, though, still isn't happy. Raging at the fourth official. Corner kick to Arsenal, left-hand side. In it comes now. Tomiyasu's downward header caught by Lloris. Arsenal in their red and white tops, playing from right to left. BBC Radio 5 Live and the World Service. And Aubameyang preventing Lloris from getting the ball out early. Dyer now rolls it out towards Reguilon. And Reguilon. Again, Reguilon's looking for something from Tomiyasu. Play the game. There was hardly any contact there, and he's gone down, touching, well, holding his face, goes out for a throw.
I mean, embarrassing, really. Just palms him off, Tomiyasu, into his chest, doesn't even touch his face, and Reguilon trying to win the foul.
Have you seen anything from a Tottenham point of view, 10 minutes into the second half, that could offer a crumb of comfort for a Spurs supporter?
No.
OK, here's Ndombele. This might be it, though, and Ndombele enters the penalty area, left-hand side. Can't work over the cross, blocked by Tomiyasu. Out to Reguilon, level with the penalty area, trailing 3-0. Reguilon's cross from the left-hand side. Gabriel heads it away. And then it's he who pursues the ball, chasing after it to make sure that it does go out of play.
I mean, I don't think Tottenham have been as exposed in the middle of the park. I think that change has had an impact on the game to a degree. But Arsenal don't need to be as progressive as what they were. I think they will be, because the mindset of this team doesn't appear to have let up, does it? They're still pressing, they're still harrying as hard as what they were, and they're as keen to get forwards with the ball.
Reguilon, left-hand side. In comes the cross. Gabriel beats Kane in the air. Tierney on the half volley clears. We mentioned earlier on, didn't we, about the shortage of goals between these two. Well, Arsenal have certainly changed that with that blistering first half performance. Skip to Kane. Ooh, Kane. White with a challenge. That was just on the edge of the area. That looked a little rash from Ben White.
Looked a penalty to me. I'm sure this is being looked at. It's purely intentional, but Harry Kane just touches the ball before Ben White. He thinks he's won it. Kane gets a toe on it, and he certainly collides with us. Whether or not it's in the box, it's bang on the 18-yard line.
Well, again, the fact that play is underway means that VAR has had a look, and Ødegaard now coming forward, leading 3-0 to Xhaka. Smith Rowe. Aubameyang's peeled out towards the left-hand side, runs into Emerson, and the referee again, Craig Pawson on hand, says get onto your feet. By the way, in the opening match, Rory McIlroy is 1 up for Europe. So in terms of an improbable fight back, maybe, just maybe, it might happen in the Ryder Cup, because it doesn't look like it's happening here in the football.
Well, it's the start you need. If the first 4 games go blue, then you can start to maybe get a little bit more excited.
Yeah, there's still a long way to go. They need to get 9 points of the 12 in the singles. But the uninterrupted golf coverage on 5 Live Sports Extra. This is the World Service with BBC Radio 5 Live here at the Emirates. A raucous, deafening crowd as Arsenal are 3 goals to the good 12 minutes into the second half.
Surprised VAR didn't look at that. And it did look a bit of a penalty to me. I didn't see Ben White make any contact with the ball. Kane gets to it first. Interesting. It was right on the 18-yard box line.
Match of the day tonight, 10:30 on BBC One. Jermaine Genius and Martin Keown, the pundits in the studio. As Dyer strokes it to Sanchez. I remember, it must be 11 years ago now, being at St James's Park when Arsenal were 4-0 up at Newcastle United. Alan Pardew was the manager for Newcastle, and midway through the second half it was still 4-0, and yet Newcastle United produced one of the most amazing comebacks in the Premier League to make it 4-4.
Was that Tiote?
Check Tiote.
Yeah.
But at the minute, you just can't see anything from a Tottenham Hotspur point of view to try and cling on to. There's been no signs of a way in to offer any encouragement whatsoever. Here is Lucas.
It's not as open, is it?
Lucas with the cross. Ramsdale with the catch. A commanding catch from your goalkeeper. That's what you want.
Absolutely. The character, the confidence to come and claim that ball. That's what goalkeeping's all about. As a centre-back, you want your goalkeeper to be dominant, and Ramsdale certainly was there. But it's about Tottenham have steadied the flow. They've just stopped Arsenal getting in at will. I will say that. I think the change of Skipp and Højbjerg sat in front has just blocked up those spaces a little bit. It's just whether or not they can turn anything into offensive play, which, as you mentioned, then hasn't really happened yet in this half.
Reguilon. Spurs still 3-0 down. I'm being told that Shane Lowry has just gone 1-up against Patrick Cantley. That would mean that Europe are up in 2, although Deschambault is 1-up against Garcia. Free kick to Tottenham Hotspur. Far side the left, about 6, 7, 8 yards in maybe from that left touch line. Arsenal have got 2 in the wall, right corner of the penalty area. Son's going to take it. This will be a in-swinger. Arsenal have got everybody back. Reguilon is also there as well. Son, too close to the goalkeeper.
Poor free kick from Son. He's much better than that. Just floats it in, an easy catch for Ramsdale. But it's interesting, Deno, it's one of the first times in a long time I've seen Arsenal line up to defend a set piece, and I actually feel really quite comfortable with the headers of the ball they had in there. I think they had Tierney right at the back, Gabriel, Ben White, Thomas Partey and Xhaka and Tomiyasu. And I think that together, in terms of defending set pieces, is much, much better for Arsenal.
Skipp finds Harry Kane. Harry Kane tries to return the ball to him. Blocked. Spurs are still attacking. Emerson back to Kane. Kane shoots. Ramsdale with a good save. Son on the follow-up. Tomiyasu reacted quickly and turned it behind for a corner kick. And high fives there from both Ramsdale and Tomiyasu, because both Arsenal players were extremely alert and agile.
Yeah, great reaction from Tomiyasu to pick up the rebound, but this is what Harry Kane's about in that area. Not a doubt in his mind. Smashes the shot. It looks like he's probably just going to hit the post, but Ramsdale didn't know and had to get down to it.
In comes the corner, flicked by Lucas. Is it behind for another corner? No, it's going to be a goal kick, says referee Craig Pawson. Well, Ramsdale had a save from Son in the first half, hasn't really been tested since then, and Harry Kane looking to try and end this goal drought. If he fails to score today, it'll be his worst drought in the Premier League in 5 years, and on his 250th Premier League appearance, he certainly tested Ramsdale, but it was a good save down to his right-hand side. Ramsdale looking to follow Alex Manninger and David Ospina to try and keep clean sheets in each of his first 3 Premier League games for Arsenal. but it was also the reaction to Tomiyasu as well that I think would please Arteta just as much.
It certainly pleased the crowd, didn't it? I mean, everyone was cheering loudly when they saw him reacting that, and that type of alertness has been really good. He looks like a player, we touched on him in the first half, who really does stick to his task. He's got good concentration and focus. He's certainly shown that in this game.
Ball forward, Harry Kane in here, Harry Kane, goal has just dropped wide. Flag had stayed down as well, and Harry Kane has had 2 opportunities in the space of about 60 seconds, and he had to hit it first time, and that was very, very close from Harry Kane as he made that run in behind. There was no foul on Tomiyasu, and right-footed guided it the wrong side of the post.
Well, how surprised were you not to see the net ripple there? Really surprised. He's got to finish that, Harry Kane. It's a fantastic run, and he's so clever because he uses his body. He just gets the wrong side of Tomiyasu, who, just saying, has been so switched on. Just got done there, got the wrong side, bumped him off. He's in one-on-one, the ball bouncing in front of Ramsdale, tries to lift it over him, does everything right, really. Bar hit the target. Really unusual to see him miss the target. A great opportunity to get Spurs back in the game.
Arsenal lead Tottenham Hotspur 3-0. Europe are up in 2, they're down in 2 in the Ryder Cup. Coverage continues on Radio 5 Live Sports Extra. Xhaka has been caught here. There's a foul on Ndombele who's gone down. He's off the ball, didn't see it. We will get an opportunity to see it again. Xhaka, well, his hand catches the left ear of Ndombele, but it looked accidental. There didn't seem to be any malice from Xhaka.
No, it was a bit of a clumsy tackle. I think he went into the tackle with the intention of fouling him, but just by bumping him or pulling him to the floor, didn't mean to catch him in the head with his arm.
When you think about last season, Arsenal finished 8th, their lowest position since 94-95. No European football for the first time in 25 years. Spurs 7th, their lowest finish in 12 seasons. Here is Lucas, off the ball, challenged by Xhaka. Ramsdale and drives it away. Then both sides need to try and get back to challenging for the top 4, first and foremost this season. Tottenham Hotspur look a long way off that at the moment.
They do look a long way off that. Having said that, though, the last 5 minutes or so, they've started to really get a foothold in this game. Arsenal struggling to keep possession like they did in the first half and knock the ball around, and Spurs being quite dominant. I mean, it is natural for the team leading 3-0 to maybe just drop off a little bit and take the foot off the pedal. Arsenal just got to be careful. They don't go too far, they don't drop too deep. Just keep doing what they were doing. It's hard to keep that intensity up, I know. But even if it's in spurts, just to try and hit Tottenham on the break and make sure you pin them back a little bit.
The voice of Matt Upson, the former England international, with us here at the Emirates, where Arsenal supporters will sing long into the night, leading by 3-0, providing it stays that way. Højbjerg running forward, overrunning the ball. White chips it away. Aubameyang heads it back. Xhaka on the halfway line. Since joining the club in 2016, Xhaka has started every North London derby as he was brought back into the side today. Tomiyasu out towards Saka on that far right-hand side. Hardly a cloud in the sky up above. Sun still shining in North London, and it's certainly shining on Arsenal. Gabriel, they're putting in a sparkling performance here against Spurs. Tierney inside to Smith Rowe. Normally Tierney would bomb on the left-hand side, but not on this occasion.
That's the difference, isn't it? They've just stepped off that little bit, which I understand. They're still keeping good possession in the right area of the pitch.
Here is Ødegaard, back with Partey. Saka, the Olays are coming out now, rubbing it in the Arsenal supporters. Here is Ødegaard. How it turns the atmosphere. At times it's been toxic in recent seasons at the Emirates. Here is Partey, and the supporters are having a party, although Partey there was caught by Skip, and he's been shown a yellow card for that challenge. That's the first yellow card of the game, 66 minutes in, that's a surprise.
Yeah, some would say that's 60-odd minutes too late, that type of tackle, not advocating that you go around kicking people, but Skip lunges in, he catches Partey's foot, but it's those type of situations and tackles that Tottenham haven't put in enough in that area of the pitch. OK, he's got a yellow card and it was a little bit reckless and out of control, but you've got to sometimes show a little bit of that Derby spirit, get after the ball, and if that means a few misplaced tackles, then sometimes that's the way.
It's been a while, the Emirates has been like this, isn't it?
It has, it certainly has. I mean, I haven't been here for a long time with an atmosphere this good, and it's been right from the first whistle, hasn't it? Even when the teams came out, you could sense the crowd were really up for this today, and that the team haven't disappointed.
Well, Mikel Arteta talks about that connection between the supporters and the team in recent weeks after the victories against Norwich and Burnley. There's a definite connection here today, and everybody pulling in the right direction and the same direction. Deafening atmosphere. BBC Radio 5 Live, Arsenal 3-0 up at half-time and still leading 3-0, now have a free kick. 30 yards out from goal. Ødegaard out towards Aubameyang, gets the save from Lloris at the near post. He was almost parallel there with that near post was Aubameyang, such was the acute angle, but Lloris still had to make the save. And then back with Sanchez.
He peels really wide there, Aubameyang. Must be like a pre-work free kick. He peels really wide, and he's confident enough to hit those balls on the volley, and he gets a decent connection. It's a tough ball to hit. Hits it into the ground, but Lloris just gobbles it up quite easily.
My eardrums were being pierced with that last chant from the Arsenal supporters, really rattling the headphones. Such was the din that they're creating. Here is Tomiyasu to Ødegaard. Man over is Saka on the right-hand side. Earlier, by the way, Southampton 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. So Southampton still yet to get their first win in the Premier League season. Sanchez to Lloris, and he chips the ball out, but under pressure he chips it out for a throw, and Spurs are going to be making their third and final change, and it's going to be Bryan Gil who's going to be coming on, the young Spanish player who they signed from Sevilla. £21.6 million plus Lamela going the other way. Lamela, of course, who last year scored that goal, that Rabona, and then was later sent off as Arsenal won by 2-1. But only his 7th appearance for Bryan Gil, to see when he can come on. But very, very difficult to try and make an impression when you've only got 21 minutes remaining. And he's replaced Ndombele.
He's been very ineffective, it has to be said. Ndombele hasn't been in the game, not really affected it. He's a talented carrier of the ball, can go past people, but there's been a lot of work for Tottenham out of possession today, having to be disciplined and know your job defensively, and he hasn't got to grips with that in the middle of the park.
White comes across, gets there before Reguilon, out of play it goes for a throw. After the football, the golf will switch to BBC Radio 5 Live. Tomorrow night, the Monday Night Club will be followed by Crystal Palace against Brighton and Hove Albion. Tuesday night we have Paris Saint-Germain against Manchester City in the Champions League, followed on Wednesday by Manchester United against Villarreal. That's all to come over the next few days and the next few hours, if you're including the golf coverage. Reguilon with a cross. Tierney heads it away, chested back by Skip, and here is Xhaka, and playing the ball now towards Tierney. Tierney closed down by Lucas, out it goes for a throw. But even in this second half, whereas Arsenal, they might not have tested Lloris as much as they did in the first half, but they've never relinquished any of the control that they've had, Arsenal.
No, they haven't been as progressive, they haven't got forward in the way they did, they haven't counter-attacked as well, but I think that's because Tottenham have just tried to block those holes. So the openings haven't been there. I mean, it was at will in the first half. It was embarrassing at times how easy Arsenal got in. And that hasn't been the case. It's been a far more even match, but the intensity's still been there from Arsenal, but just in a different way. They're still pressing from the front, they're still trying to get after the Spurs players and keeping up those energy levels.
Europe were up in 2 and down in 2, but there's been a change. Alistair Bruce Ball.
Rory McIlroy still up in the first match against Xander Schauffele. Patrick Cantlay has levelled up against Shane Lowry. That match is all square. In the next 2 out on the golf course, John Rahm, who's been absolutely fabulous for Europe in the Ryder Cup so far, 2 down against Scotty Scheffler after the first 2 holes, and Bryson DeChambeau with an incredible eagle on the first, having driven the green, is 1 up on Sergio Garcia. Europe need 9 points to complete a miraculous fight back. USA need 3.5 points to win the Ryder Cup back.
And we're about, I would say, 25 minutes away, maybe half an hour from Ali and the rest of the team joining us here on BBC Radio 5 Live at the conclusion of this game, because we'll have the news. We've got 18 minutes remaining, then the news, and then Mark Chapman and co will take over here. It's still 3-0 to Arsenal. Tottenham are attacking, Reguilon left-hand side, but if there was to be a comeback from Tottenham, they needed one of those chances from Harry Kane to have gone in just past the hour mark, but wasn't able to take the opportunity. Ramsdale with the save, and then that effort that just dropped wide. As Ramsdale plays the ball short, Gain not phased, just strayed a little bit out of his penalty area right-hand side. But they've beaten the press, they're playing out from the back, very accomplished at doing so as well. And now Tierney to Smith Rowe. Back with Tierney once more. Partey now in the centre circle.
It's another good game from Thomas Partey, isn't it? A player that needs a consistent run, confidence to get better and better.
Saka running inside, Saka with a shot and forcing Lloris into the save. Dropped just in front of Lloris, all in yellow, and he had to get down low and turn it away. Very awkward for the goalkeeper.
Well, that's what you get when you've got a left-footed player playing on the right. Ability to come inside and hit shots. I think Lloris always knew it was going to go for that far post. It was comfortable save in the end, but parries it well wide. Saka loves driving inside the pitch, and that's an accurate left-footed effort. Not enough pace on the ball to trouble Lloris, but good accuracy from Saka.
Corner kick to Arsenal. Ødegaard to take it. Should be an outswinger. It's very, very deep. 2 players both go for the same ball. Gabriel and Partey. No chance of a Tottenham break because Ødegaard got it back. Smith Rowe. I don't think you could fault any one of the Arsenal players, did you, today?
No, and it's also hard to pick a star player as well, I'd have to say. I think as far as team performances go, it's been so collective across the board. It's very hard to single anyone out for praise or criticism.
Well, that was typified from Xhaka, who I think now has done his lot, because he just went on a lung-bursting run from the right-hand side, chased after Lloris, much to the supporters' delight, but he's either needing a breather or he's pulled a muscle, but he's gone down nevertheless. But it's that type of performance, the levels of desire that you want to see from your players.
Absolutely. I can see Saka down on the floor, other side of the pitch. So there's 2 Arsenal trainers have come on to treat Saka and Xhaka. But yeah, I mean, the team especially has been absolutely fantastic.
Xhaka still getting treatment. And for Tottenham Hotspur, 15 minutes remain, and now they are a lot of Tottenham supporters heading for their exits. They've seen enough. The empty red seats are appearing in that 3,000 allocation of away supporters. Thierry Henry, who is here today with the owner of Spotify, I'm reliably informed. Very soon you'll struggle to spot the Tottenham fans. Mind you, wouldn't blame them.
I think a few left quite early. What, the 3-0? I think there was a few empty seats at 3-0, and it has been a difficult watch for them. It really has. A team that they're very passionate about and have turned up here to support them, but right from the off it's been very clear that there's only going to be one team in this match today who's going to come out on top, and that tone was set so early on in this game.
Saka's actually been getting treatment as well as Xhaka, but both Xhaka and Saka are back on the field of play, but Arsenal are going to be making a change. They still lead 3-0. Dominant throughout, Arsenal. Lucas with a flick header, Emerson round the back, Gabriel is there.
He's been good as well, Gabriel.
He was good last week at
Tottenham.
Moore.
Been very, very good. He looks like he's got a bit of more presence and stature and personality. He's pointing fingers, he's organising people, he looks more confident. Arsenal have needed a centre-back to do that. It's going to really help Ben White, because I think he's a really talented centre-back. He's shown that in this game, but having that type of presence alongside you really does help you just focus on your game.
Sanchez inside to Lucas, midway through the Arsenal half. Son gets there before Højbjerg, but again Arsenal have got every red and white shirt back behind the ball. Reguilon. Hill, who's come on, Brian Hill has hardly had a touch. Here he is now making himself available on that left-hand side. Back then towards Dyer. Xhaka barking out the order still to Tierney. Now Emerson. Emerson keeps the ball in play, level with the penalty area to Højbjerg. Emerson looks to go on the outside. Tierney makes the well-timed challenge. Out it goes for a Tottenham throw. Højbjerg takes it quickly. 12 minutes of normal time remain. And it's still the same scoreline as it was at half-time. 3-0 to Arsenal. Emerson's cross cleared by Saka. Edge of his own penalty area. Away as far as Skip. Skip back inside. Now Lucas accelerates to Højbjerg. Lucas has run into Xhaka, who's gone down, holding his right leg at the moment. Hill slides in, feeds the ball to Reguilon, plays it in low, Son! And Son scores! And Tottenham Hotspur have got a goal back with 12 minutes remaining. Late hope for Spurs, it's Arsenal 3, Tottenham Hotspur 1.
Good goal from Son. Great timing of the run, but Arsenal a little bit at 6s and 7s, Xhaka down, and they were a little bit light on numbers. I'm not sure if they thought it was going to be pulled back for a foul. There's a collision with Xhaka, who's on the floor, and Kieran Tierney struggling a little bit as well. The ball goes wide. Good little touch from tackle from Hill, and Son in all the space. It's a good pick out from Reguilon, gets his head up on that left-hand side, fires the ball in across with real pace. And Son arriving brilliantly just to side-foot it home. Ramsdale gets a good hand on it, but it's such close range with the power. Gets a hand and the ball just floats into the top corner of the net.
First goal that Aaron Ramsdale has conceded as the Arsenal goalkeeper, but Xhaka has stayed down. And he appears to be in quite a lot of pain at the moment with that right leg at the moment. It was Lucas who ran into him. We called it in commentary. It was very accidental.
Yeah.
But it was a tumbling Lucas that fell into the Swiss international.
There's a tackle from Thomas Partey who upends him. Doesn't look very nice, because Xhaka's standing there completely unaware. And as he lands, Lucas, he lands on the outside of his knee, and he just pushes his knee right in. It's gone down in considerable pain, and he looks in real pain now, Granit Xhaka. He's got his hands over his head, and it looks like a bit of a nasty injury. It's completely accidental, as you mentioned, Deno, but as your foot's planted and a whole player's weight lands on your knee like that, it can really do some damage. And he's getting treatment, but for me it doesn't look like he's going to continue.
Eric Dyer has gone over, and Eric Dyer, I think, is saying, why can't he leave the field of play? But yeah, it clearly looks a bad one, so I'm not too sure why you'd want to suggest that.
Yeah,
you want to keep him in the same place to get the treatment.
Well, it's injury time, isn't it?
You don't want to aggravate anything, do you?
No, you don't. But I mean, he's fine. He's hobbling off, but it's one of those where he's just overstretched something, or his knee. It was an awkward fall from Lucas right onto him. It's a shame, because he's had a pretty solid game. Like you say, a player that's always questioned his selection. He hasn't got a great relationship or rapport with the Arsenal fans for obvious reasons, but he's certainly put his shift in today.
Well, he's actually getting a lovely ovation here, because he has put a shift in today. Epitomised the qualities that you would want. He's led from the front with his experience. There may have been a few groans from the Arsenal supporters when they realised he was coming back into the side, but he gets a nice ovation, and that necessarily doesn't happen all the time. but he comes off, and Albert Sambi Lokonga comes on for just his 6th appearance since joining from Anderlecht. And that'll be a lot of added on time that we're into. As far as the normal time remains, we've got about 8 minutes remaining. It's Arsenal 3, Tottenham Hotspur 1 here at the Emirates, 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC.
So at the moment, that does put Arsenal just above Tottenham with the 2-goal difference. So they're just still in that position.
And Arsenal win by at least a 2-goal margin, they would still go above Spurs. So, although still very, very early on in proceedings. Tierney to shoot from distance, left-footed. He's only scored 3 goals in his Arsenal career. Pulled it left-footed well wide, out for a goal kick. Faint hope, that's all it is from a Tottenham point of view.
Well, no, I think it's important. It's important they got a goal back. It's important for their manager and for the team. And the second half performance has been better. They haven't been as exposed. They've had a bit more control of the game. And like you say, a great chance from Harry Kane as well. You should think about if Kane puts one of those away, or that chance away.
Yeah.
So, to be a really lively last 8 to 10 minutes of the game.
And those 2 chances that he had, that save from Ramsdale was on the hour mark, and then just wide of the right-hand post 2 minutes later. Free kick has been awarded to Arsenal that they're in no real hurry to take. 7 minutes remaining of normal time. Then we'll have the news after the stoppage time, and then we'll have the goal for you here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Arsenal looking, after those 3 straight defeats in the Premier League, an aggregate score of 9 goals against, none scored. Now it's going to be 3 successive wins with an aggregate score of 5-1. The road to recovery, and certainly here against Tottenham Hotspur, a performance that they've very much enjoyed, the supporters. We'll try and bring you the reaction into the golf coverage with Mark Chapman. 6 minutes remaining of normal time. Sanchez, Spurs though playing in front of Arsenal at the moment. To Skip, Reguilon's pushed up on that left-hand side, plays it short and forward. Hill out towards Reguilon. Hill wants the return ball. I don't think it's straight into an offside position. Cuts the ball back off an outstretched leg of Partey. Comes to Reguilon, heads it back into the penalty area. It'll be picked up by Ramsdale.
Much better purpose from Tottenham with the play though, isn't it? The passing looks a little bit more crisp, the movement looks better. Lucas Moura coming inside, feeding the ball wide, Reguilon on the run. It's just far more like Spurs, and there hasn't been enough of that in this game, certainly in the first half. Barely saw any of it, which is where the damage was really done.
Last time that Tottenham Hotspur suffered more than 2 defeats at the start of a Premier League season after 6 games was 2008. A season that Juande Ramos was actually sacked after just 8 games. Nuno Espirito Santo will hope that the hierarchy show a little bit more faith in him after coming in the summer. Hill, 3-1 down Tottenham. Perseverance from Tomiyasu, digging in deep, gets the ball away. He's going to quickly become a crowd favourite, I think, the Japanese international at right back. Under 5 minutes remaining. Arsenal still lead by 3-1. Emerson on this near side. Højbjerg makes the run. Aubameyang was tracking it though. Lucas to Skip. Ødegaard breaks out. Skip forced away from the penalty area. Goes short. Inside to Lucas. Dyer. Reguilon, far side to left, almost level with the penalty area. 4.5 minutes of normal time remaining. Spurs goal here would set the nerves jangling, that is for sure. Lucas coming forward. Hill, left corner of the penalty area, out to the left touchline, gets it back from Reguilon. They're having to be patient. Dyer now with a diagonal ball spread out towards Emerson. Rare sustained spell of pressure from Tottenham. Emerson looks for the return from Højbjerg, and then Emerson fouls Smith Rowe, and that will be a free kick to Arsenal, who still lead 3-1.
There's a little bit of a feeling that, you know, Arsenal have spent a lot of energy in this game, haven't they? The pace that they've been playing at, and it's just really started to fade, understandably. You know, they haven't played like this for so long. The players aren't going to be quite used to the levels. There's another change being made now from Arsenal, but you can see that Spurs have just crept slowly into this game. They've got the more energy at the moment, just purely because they didn't put enough into the first half of the game.
Well, Saka got a lovely ovation when he played Tottenham in that pre-season friendly at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. As he leaves the field here, he's getting a standing ovation from the Arsenal supporters for his part in what will be a North London Derby Day success to remember. And he's embraced by his manager as well, as Saka is replaced by Maitland-Niles. And there's going to be another change as well, and that is Nuno Tavares, who's come on to replace Smith Rowe. And with the pace that they had in abundance in that first half, whether it be Saka or Smith Rowe, both of them had fine first half performances.
I mean, they were brilliant. The link up, even in the second half, that little passage of play where Aubameyang has the header at the far post, the link up between Smith Rowe and Saka is just excellent. And I love to see those two young players together. I think that they complement each other really well. They've got a good understanding, and in terms of Arsenal for the future, in an attacking sense, it's a really exciting prospect.
Europe are down in 3, up in 2, and all square in 1 in the opening 6 matches in the Ryder Cup singles. 5 Live Sports Extra coverage will soon be switching to BBC Radio 5 Live. Ball chipped towards Tavares on the volley, crosses the ball from the left-hand side to Lloris, who looks to clear. We've still got 2 minutes of normal time remaining. I would think we'd be looking at least 5 minutes of stoppage time with that injury to Xhaka and the amount of substitutions. It's 3-1 to Arsenal. If I can multitask, I'll try and find out for you on the little app that we have. But that's easier said than done at times.
Be careful, Gunnar. Do too much at once.
Ødegaard, forward of the centre circle. Man over is Maitland-Niles on the far side. Back to Ødegaard once more. We said this is a fixture that favours the home side. Certainly has here today. Been a deserved victory for Arsenal against Tottenham Hotspur. Although Tottenham, since 1993, have only had 1 win at Arsenal in the Premier League in 28 attempts.
There's Gabriel again, moments ago, beating Son to the ball, anticipating it in the space. He really has looked very accomplished in this game, and having a good chat with Thomas Partey. I think that connection with Partey and the back 2 centre-backs, mentioned it before the game, is huge for Arsenal. Having that screen, having that understanding between the 3 of them, just allows that base for the team to be strong and solid.
There's going to be 5 minutes of added on time.
You're spot on.
So at the minute, we're yet to see the board put up, but we will be going into those 5 minutes any second now, with Arsenal leading Tottenham by 3-1. There it is, the bright red digit that is being shown by the 4th official, Peter Banks.
You didn't need your little app, Deno. Just
I could have waited.
Trust the onboard computer, mate.
Here is Højbjerg. I like to inform the listener.
Well, you would be. You knew it was 5 minutes. You just knew it. Instinct told you.
Hill caught by Lokonga. Free kick to Tottenham Hotspur. Yellow card is being shown to the Arsenal substitute. And it's a free kick to Spurs on this right-hand side. Can only be a few hundred Tottenham fans out of that travelling 3,000 support that are left inside the stadium as they shuffle away, disgruntled and disappointed from the free kick. Comes out to Højbjerg. Lucas gets away from Aubameyang. Lucas shot with a deflection, comes back on the crossbar. Wow. And Tomiyasu gets it behind for a corner kick. I think Ramsdale might have got something on that anyway.
What a save, Ramsdale. What a save. That's fabulous. athleticism he showed there, because this is a looping effort. The moment it opened up for Lucas, I thought this was trouble. Gets a massive deflection.
Oh, what a save.
And he's had to stretch everything there to get a fingertip onto the crossbar.
In comes the corner kick. Goes back out towards Son on the left-hand side. And the flag's up on this near side. It'll be a free kick. Well, Ramsdale really had to stretch for it, didn't he? Because it took the deflection. It was looping over him. And the fingertips pushed it onto the crossbar.
It hung in the air, the ball, because of the deflection, and he got up early and he had to hang with it. It's a really important fingertip, because that goes in. It'd be some final few minutes to the game, wouldn't it? Really would start to test Arsenal. It's an important save at this stage of the game.
Gareth Southgate names his England squad on Thursday. We'll have news, of course, of that on BBC Radio 5 Live. He's still uncapped, is Aaron Ramsdale, but that was a very impressive save, and I'm sure he'll hope to feature in Gareth's squad for the forthcoming World Cup qualifiers against Andorra away and Hungary at home. Both games to be live on BBC Radio 5 Live. This is 5 Live's Premier League Sunday. We brought you earlier Southampton 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. And we're now halfway through the 5 minutes of stoppage time here at the Emirates, where it's Arsenal 3, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Tomorrow, talking of two teams where there's no love lost, Crystal Palace against Brighton and Hove Albion. Live coverage of that from Selhurst Park tomorrow night. And then Champions League action Tuesday and Wednesday. The goal's coming up though, very, very soon here on 5 Live. As Son, last line of defence, as he pumps the ball long for Tottenham. Dyer has gone forward. Tavares climbs over him to win that aerial duel. Ball played forward to the feet of Eric Dyer. Tavares is going to put him under pressure. Son outside the centre circle. Still Arsenal working hard. Under 2 minutes of added on time. Ball forward, headed away by Gabriel. Ødegaard tries to shield it away from Lucas. Is it just to have been fouled as Ødegaard by Lucas? Free kick to Arsenal.
I mean, when you think about it, Deno, for all of Arsenal's dominance, the chance from Kane and that hitting the crossbar, can you imagine if this was 3-3? It'd be unbelievable with how well Arsenal have played, but Tottenham, in credit to them, and you have to say in credit to them, it's not easy, 3-0 down at half-time, and with a shocking first-half performance, have come out and really had a bit of a go and got themselves back into this game to a degree with the performance. There has to be some kind of credit for that.
Well, it will be scant consolation for the Tottenham Hotspur supporters. And whilst Matt was talking, Ramsdale just went in front of the Arsenal fans and banged his chest, a bit of tub thumping, and the supporters loved that, and they responded with real fervour. We talked earlier about where are the leaders in this Arsenal side. Well, I think they're starting to emerge. You think of Gabriel, Ødegaard in the midfield, Ramsdale. I mean, even now he's very, very vocal with Gabriel, and the ball can't be kept in play on that far side. There are signs for Arsenal under Arteta of maybe brighter things to come after a torrid last couple of seasons, but the questions will still remain as far as Tottenham are concerned.
Yeah, I mean, it's that type of mentality you want to see in every game. It's a derby that has got these players up for the game, and that's great, but you have to produce it week in, week out, no matter who you're playing. That type of intensity, personality.
The deafening roar will tell you that the final whistle has gone. A fist pump from Mikel Arteta, because Arsenal's recovery continues. Spurs stumble once more. It's finished in the 190th North London derby. Arsenal 3, Tottenham Hotspur 1. And Matt Upson, there can be no complaints overall.
Absolutely not, Deno. I think it's a fully deserved win for Arsenal. Yes, there were some scary moments in the second half. Could Tottenham's luck been a little bit better? One off the crossbar, Harry Kane's finish, yes, maybe, but on the scale of the play and the application and intensity, it was such a dazzling first half display from Arsenal. Completely tore Spurs to shreds in many, many different ways. Out of possession, in possession, energy, press, running, all departments beaten. and that's what's won them the game. They've hung on in the second half. It was always going to dwindle a little bit. Credit to Tottenham coming out in the second half. They gave a decent account of themselves and tried to get back in the game, but it was just too big a mountain to climb. And Arsenal did enough, and a fantastic derby win and a third Premier League win in a row.
There can only be 100 or so Tottenham supporters who are still left as the Tottenham players go over. Mind you, the Arsenal fans aren't going anywhere. They're soaking up the atmosphere, because never in this history has a side led 3-0 at half-time, but Arsenal were just sensational in that first half. Smith Rowe with the first goal, Aubameyang with the second, and then Saka with the third after 34 minutes. Couple of opportunities for Tottenham, but Arsenal still had that control in the second half. However, Tottenham didn't respond. Kane around the hour mark had a couple of chances. Son got a goal back 12 minutes from time, and then Ramsdale in the 90th minute made an excellent save from Lucas's deflected shot. So there was a response, but it's all about Arsenal here, because this is a club now. Listen to the noise inside the Emirates. You feel as if they're a club moving forward, slowly but surely.
Absolutely, and it's needed to happen, and so much of that has been the personality, has been the character on the pitch, right from the first tackle from Ben White that really